What's going on, everybody?
Yeah.
What up?
How's it
We are
going?
here for to celebrate one of the greatest legends in movie history, in my opinion. One of the best living legends we have working in Hollywood today. And I'm excited to be here with these three fine gentlemen here.
While he's still alive, that's the key part. While he's still alive, because if
Brad kept
waiting any longer.
Brad kept messaging me going, man, we need to do this for Clint Shots because you're going to be in mourning for like 2 weeks when he does. I said, man, he's got at least 20 more years to live. At least.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's making that century.
You know, yeah, man. I've done a lot of live streams on YouTube, but I'm going to say this is the one that I'm probably the most excited about. Other than Sylvester Stallone, Clint Eastwood is up there with my favorite actor of all times. He's my childhood. He's been there my whole life. And his movies are something else, man. I got so many reasons to love his movies, man. These are next level for me. So I know Jase over there, our buddy in Australia over there. He's equally as or not bigger than a bigger fan than I am.
Yeah, I'm very excited to be here, man. Clint Eastwood is one of the guys I grew up with and I still love today. So yeah, very special stream. I'm very happy and excited to be here with you guys.
It's gonna be a good one.
And this could have been a top 20 stream, and I would have still struggled because he's got so many films that I love, man. And I'm picking five is like it's like lining my kids up and picking which one I like the best. You know, it's tough.
I think Tony watched 40 movies this month. They're all Clint Eastwood.
Yeah. I've been watching a lot. I still got a lot more I want to watch.
That's cool.
Yeah. Anybody that watches my channel probably notices that my Clint box set is missing from back there.
Oh.
It'll make an appearance here in a few minutes. But yeah, guys, I'm super excited. Let's check out the chat and see what we got going on out there. We got 33 people watching.
Wow.
That's wild. All right, Ken Carlson. Hey, Pops, top 5, Good, Bad, and the Ugly, favorite film of all times. For a few dollars more, Dirty Harry, Escape from Alcatraz, and Kelly's Heroes. Man, all strong picks.
Yeah. Solid picks.
Yeah, some good ones.
Johnny Darko, how's it going, Pops? What's going on, Johnny? Appreciate you being here, buddy. Adrian James, say to Tony. Spicy for you. By the way, guys, we are multi-streaming. Everybody on the chat on the panel tonight, we're multi-streaming to everybody's channel. So make sure y'all go and subscribe to everybody. Whichever channel you're here on, we appreciate you being here, but subscribe to everybody. All great guys.
Spicy 4K Action, good guy. He's got a good channel.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Gran
Hey guys, happy Saturday. Clint Eastwood is a legend. Gran Torino is underrated. Man, Gran Torino, man. There's something to say about somebody that's been in the game that long that could come out and make that movie and just absolutely kill it the way he did, man. We'll talk more about that later, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Daniel Hernandez. Hey to Tony.
Well,
movie under 2020, man. Now isn't he the guy that's got every still book in existence? Doesn't he have all the
every
still books?
Every US still book?
Yeah, I think I'm crazy with collecting, man. That's a feat, man. That is a feat right there. Even and everyone, smash that like button. Appreciate it, man. Scolder, what's going on, buddy?
Scolder.
Oh, no, yeah, we can't start the stream without Holland being here. Appreciate you being here, Holland.
Yeah, he's always here. Nice. Paul.
Brad had a stream. Brad had a stream last night that started at like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, and the first person in the chat was Holland. I don't think this man sleeps. I don't think he sleeps, man.
Tony was not available for that one, unfortunately. No. I called him several times, texted 911. He was just, for some reason, wouldn't get my call.
Paul, what's going on, man? Sundance is here.
Paul.
Fans of something. Haven't seen many Eastwood films. Got to go Gran Torino. You can't go wrong with that pick, man.
Yeah.
All right, Johnny Darko. My dad used to watch Clint movies a lot, so I've seen a lot of them. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly was one I always enjoyed. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's something else about Clint, man. My dad passed away in 2014, man, and that's the one thing. My dad, I was joking with my wife earlier. He would sit there and channel surf, basic cable. He would get the TBS movie and Clint would be on. He would put that remote control down, and he didn't change the channel. I mean, every time he would watch the same Clint Eastwood movies over and over and over again. And so I grew up in the household with those movies playing all the time,
Yep.
White Tim. Say hey to Jase. What's going on, White Tim?
What's up?
Geriatric Geek. Hello, guys. Looks like a great subject.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Adrian James. Hey there.
Many months in the planning.
Yep. Wild Wrangler, what's going on, man? Hey to everybody. Magic Hands. What's up? What's up, Trini?
What up?
Joe Joker saying hello.
I like the Wild Bunch photo.
Yeah, man. Corey Wilkerson, I completely forgot about Firefox until seeing your intro. Yeah, that's one I haven't seen in a long time, and I didn't rewatch that for the stream, but even after rewatch, I don't think it would have been in my top 5, but I haven't seen that movie in years.
It's in all
What's going on, Dirk? And, I would like to give Dirk a big shout out. He is the one that made the intro for this live stream. So big shout out to Dirk, man. I appreciate that.
Great stuff, man.
Good job, Dirk.
That was awesome.
Yeah, man. He's killing those. And hey, Adrian James, all the notes, and hey, the Wild Wrangler, everybody saying hey. Steve Mars, greetings, gentlemen, and all Flick friends out there.
What's up?
Hey, to Tim.
What's up?
Everybody saying hey. All right, DVD menu flicks and full special features. Best movie Silverado and Tombstone. Some like Western movies. Same like Western movies.
Yeah.
Good. Both good. Both good.
Yeah, they're good.
Tombstone's still not on 4K.
That'll be the top 10 Western stream.
Yeah, I'm hoping we get Tombstone this year, man. Silverado would be a good one.
I'm pretty sure Tombstone's getting a 4K this year.
Yeah, it's on my short list for sure.
Yep.
Adrian James says Escape from Alcatraz is one of my favorites.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. Anthony's Horror More. What's going on, Anthony? One of our fellow compadres there. That open reel was badass, guys. Yep.
Yeah. It's a bada.
Right. Allie, what's going on, Allie? Evening, fellas.
Hey, Allie.
What's up?
She's always around in our chats. Appreciate you being here, Allie. My dad introduced me to Clint Eastwood as well. Yep.
Yeah, it's a common.
Oh, there's my buddy right there. He's the one that got me drunk tonight, by the way. I'm sobering up from an earlier drunk tonight. That's my real life doctor, by the way. He prescribes bourbon on a regular basis. Great, best doctor ever.
See how you're doing.
It thins the blood.
True.
There you go.
Yeah, we're all over the chat, guys. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm excited to show off my picks, but I'm more excited to see what you guys pick more than anything. I'm really excited to get to our number 1. And we're not doing any honorable mentions unless at the end some of you guys want to show some stuff, but we're not officially doing honorable mentions. But you guys show whatever you want to show. But we're going to get started with our number 5, Jason. You're the first man in the chair there, so we're going to start with you.
Let's do it. Tough. This was a very tough list, as we've already said. But yeah, I know this is one of Pops' favorites. I got to go Clint Eastwood, Dirty Harry, the original. And this basically set off a lot of police crime dramas back in the 70s. But yeah, I love seeing Eastwood as Harry Callahan, the tough cop, with all the great lines. And I mean, this series in general is great, but the first one, for whatever reason, I think I really love the Scorpio villain and just the way Eastwood, his mood in it, and just all the great action scenes. And this just fits in perfectly. I can't see anyone else but Eastwood playing this Harry Callahan character. So yeah, it's a good one, man. It's like I said, I enjoyed the sequels. Magnum Force is really good as well. Sudden Impact. Deadpool I wasn't that big on, but yeah, I love Eastwood at this, man. All the iconic lines, you know what I'm talking about. Do you feel lucky, punk, and all that? So yeah, great one, man. Number 5, Dirty Harry for me.
I always mix up the things that happen. I always mix up the things that happen. Is first one the coffee one? Or is that one of the later ones where he goes?
No, coffee is Sudden Impact.
Sudden Impact.
Too much sugar.
She puts all the sugar in the coffee, whatever. Yeah.
This one is when he's having a hot dog, remember? And then he's at a hot, and then he's
still eating it.
Still eating it.
Killing guys. He's still chewing up his hot dog as he's blowing people away in the street.
Man, the best part of that scene with the sugar, when he goes back in the place, and he says, "We're not going to let you just walk out of here." And he's like, "Who's we, sucker? Who's a Smith, Wesson, and me?" I mean, come on, man. Come on. Yeah. Let's get better than that.
Yeah, so many great lines.
That's a great first pick, man.
A man's got to know his limitations. I love that as well. Yeah, so many great lines. Within sequels are great too.
Yeah,
and me doing my research over the last few weeks.
Oh, go ahead, Alan.
No, I'm sorry. I was going to say, me doing my research the last few weeks, whatever, one thing I thought was interesting, and, Clint Eastwood's got all the lines. But Arnold Schwarzenegger said when he started acting, he says all the one-liners that Clint Eastwood had back in the day, that's what inspired him to do. And, Arnold's famous for his one-liners. And it's cool to see that he got his inspiration from the old Clint movies.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, it spawned that Dirty Harry series spawned a lot of great police crime dramas after that, because obviously in the 70s and early 80s there was a lot of great. Dirty Harry series spawned a lot of. Oh, someone's.
Oh, yeah, that was me.
Alan.
I don't know why my phone does that, man. It does like every live stream at least once. Sorry about
that. No, like I said, it spawned some great movies, and this Dirty Harry series in general is just really cool. Magnum Force, just maybe as good as the original in some ways, and Force is good. Sudden Impact, like you just mentioned, they're all good in their own way. Quirky as well, some of the later ones.
Alan is not a big fan of Enforcer.
Isn't he?
Has a certain female cast member.
Oh yeah,
we will not name.
No, I have no problem with the Enforcer. I like the Enforcer.
The only one I couldn't
what's crazy
is Deadpool as much. The last one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was kind of funny seeing Jim Carrey in that little,
Jim Carrey role. And Liam Neeson as well, with like a ponytail.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Enforcer's the one with the ketchup line, I believe.
Yeah.
No, that's the one with where he says something about the guy eating the ketchup on a hot dog.
Yeah.
I think that's Sudden Impact. That's Sudden Impact where he says the hot dog, the ketchup hot dog line.
It's like I said, man, it's the same exact character, but I do know in the first one, the mayor pulls Callahan off the street. The mayor of San Francisco, a millionaire, pulls Callahan off the street to question him about a rapist, a suspected rapist that Callahan murdered. And he said, "How did you know he was attempting to rape a woman?" He says, "Well, a naked man chasing a woman down an alley with a butcher knife."
I love that.
Kind of a clue.
Yeah.
Right.
And the mayor's just like, he has a point.
Yeah. I also like in the original when he sees the villain, remember pretending that he's all bandaged up. He's like, "Did you do that to him? It would be a lot worse if I did that."
All right, Tony, you're up, buddy. What you got for your number 5, man?
Yeah, so my number 5 also is Dirty Harry.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
I just revisited all of these this past week. I watched all of them. The first one I ever saw was, unfortunately, the Deadpool. I saw that one in the theater back when it came out. But the other ones I didn't get to watch until later on. But Dirty Harry is definitely my favorite. Just as Jase just said, to me, that's the most memorable one. It's the original. All the other ones kind of just taper off as they go along, from best to worst. Not that they're all bad. They're all good. But Dirty Harry's my favorite. But anyway, what I did for each of my picks, I've got a little something typed up so I can remember what I want to say. But awesome. Dirty Harry is from 1971. And it, like Jay said, it did spawn a bunch of police type action films. What I liked about this one was definitely the real life case of the Zodiac killer that Callahan's seeking out. To me, I think Dirty Harry is probably, I think of Clint Eastwood. I think of either the Dirty Harry character or the Western characters. Yeah. Which I'm a bigger fan of the Westerns. But Dirty Harry to me is going to be my top 5.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's like Sylvester Stallone. He's either Rambo or Rocky. Mm-hmm. Clint Eastwood is either Callahan or the Man with No Name.
I love how he has in each movie too, he has like a different sidekick, and there's always a running joke with that as well. I love that part of it too. It's good.
The running joke is they're all you're gonna die. Like every sidekick I've had.
Nobody wants to be your partner.
Yeah. Love that. That's a good one.
Nice, man.
All right.
So you got Dirty Harry's number 5 as well?
Yeah. No, any which way but loose. No, that's Alan's number 1.
I love that movie, man.
Like, I love those damn monkey movies. Stop making fun of them. No, my number 5 is more of a sentimental pick, I guess, nostalgia, whatever the word is, but it's Gran Torino. It's,
yeah, nice.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't think it held up particularly well, but I do have nostalgia for it, and I think this is it's an artifact of a time gone. I won't get into all that, but you can't make this movie today. Everybody says that. You could not make this movie today. 2008 takes place and is shot in and around Detroit. If racial slurs bother you, okay, this is not the movie for you. Everybody, all colors, all nationalities are constantly throwing racial slurs back and forth at each other, in a melting pot that is Detroit. The movie follows Walt Kowalski after his wife's funeral. He's a 70-something Korean War veteran, retired from the local Ford plant. You know, he's a fossil essentially. He's permanently set in the 1950s. To him, it's the way the world still is, and he lives that way. And times have changed, and he hasn't moved on. He lives in the same house. He's lived there, you know, his entire adult life, and the neighborhood has changed, but he's the lone holdout. And it was a former working class neighborhood, now occupied by low income minority families. He hates all the new neighbors. They don't take care of their houses. You know, the place is getting run down, including his next door neighbors, an Asian family. Eventually, he grows to like them and takes their teenage son. He's really like backwards and awkward, you know, kind of like beaten down kid under his wing and tries to make him a man, teach him to be a man. As the movie goes on, he learns he has more in common with these people and their old traditional ways than his own family. He even says that in the movie, and it's really true, obviously. He spends a lot of time with them. He helps them fix their house and stuff like that, gets the kid a job and teaches him how to talk to people, which is awesome. He goes to the barbershop. We've all seen the scene where, you know, teaches him how to be a man and all that. It's awesome. But they're being harassed by a local gang, and it becomes clear to him that he's going to have to step up and do something about it. The police can't help. It's kind of, you know, internal, and, you know, he's going to have to, you know, set things right so that they can have a chance in a normal life, especially this kid that he you know, Tal, that he is you know, really he likes more than his own son.
Yeah.
It's a story of redemption for Clint Eastwood's character. It all ties up nicely at the end. I won't talk about the third act because it's, you know, just heavy spoilers, but he has this life. He leads this life. He's like very stoic, and you can't help him. He's very independent, and his kids never behave properly. His grandchildren, everything that he's very critical, and he feels like the things he did in war, you know, were, you know, atrocities, and he kind of carries his whole life. And like I said, this is like a redemption piece for him, you know, setting everything right. He even goes to his priest eventually. He goes to his priest and confesses his sins, and it's like just the most Mickey Mouse shit ever. He's like, I didn't pay the taxes on a $900 gain I made on a boat, you know, and I didn't, you know, I kissed a girl at a drunken party one time, and it's like, those are your sins? He's like, these have bothered me for 50 years, you know. They're really, really kind of tame stuff, but he talks about the war a little bit. The relationship between him and the young priest is hilarious. Just the way he talks to him, and the priest will not give up. He won't leave him alone. So he just keeps getting abused more and more. But again, Clint kind of warms up to him. But, you know, the famous "get off my lawn" scene, the priest comes after that and says, "Why didn't you call the police? Somebody could have got shot." He says to him, he smiles, he says, "I prayed for the police. I prayed the police would show up, and nobody answered." And he just grins like an idiot at him. But, you know, that's probably one of my favorite scenes. But there's a lot of good scenes in this. But everybody says this reminds me of my grandfather. You know, whatever. This is about my grandfather. Okay, he was a Korean War veteran. Died in the same house he lived in for 55 years. Worked at the GM plant, not the Ford plant. Drove only GMs. Hated foreign cars. I won't go further, but he saw this movie. He got a chance to see the movie. He loved it. But he said, I said, you know, people say this movie reminds them of you. And he goes, "I never went to no goddamn church." Other than that, he said it's pretty accurate. So anyway, for that reason alone, I do like it. And it didn't hold up particularly well, but it does. I mean, if anything, it reminded me. If I wanted to think about my grandfather, I'd just watch this. It was the same guy. Yeah. So anyway, that's my number 5.
That's a good
it reminds me of some. It reminds me of some of my family members too.
Yeah. And I'm older than probably most people in the chat, most people on this panel for sure, maybe besides Tony. But back in the day, man, it was a different world. You know, it was just normal. Yeah. You know, so he was a very relatable guy compared to most people.
It's not like it's bullying or something. It didn't matter what you were, what color you were, what nationality. They were all making racial slurs at each other. You know, it just was.
But it's the kind of guy that if you needed anything at 2:00 in the morning, he would be the first one there. Yeah. You know, it was great people, but they was just a different culture. You know, so
different.
It was interesting to see that. And you're right. That movie could never be made nowadays. No. Never could.
He goes to a party and everybody's having a good time drinking and whatnot. He's fixing the washing machine.
Yeah.
Oh no, he enjoys when all the old ladies are feeding him though. Remember?
He's really turned off by the whole thing, and then they start feeding him, and he's like, "This is great."
And then they start like coming over to his house and giving him more food as they go on. So.
Yeah, he's trying to stop him until he sees the food that they bring. He's like, "All right, come in."
And he says to his son, "I told you to buy Ford." When he sees like the truck that he has, like the new sort of car, that's funny.
Couldn't buy an American car, just literally.
The part about the movie I like the most, and we may talk about this later, is that his kids obviously all suck. He's this old gruff guy, whatever. But he's got this next door neighbor that needs somebody, and he basically steps up and gets this relationship with his kid, and it's like he becomes the parent he wants to be with his kid. But his kids suck so bad. They never appreciated it, whatever. But this other kid needed it, and he just kind of stepped up. And there's something about that just kind of hit home for me, whatever. I don't know, man. Yeah. It's one of my favorites.
But
we may talk about more of that later.
To be a Korean War veteran and be at his age, those people look like Koreans to him. Even though they're not. But to him, it's all the same thing. For him to come around like that, and like I said, it's a story of redemption, and I think it works really well. And I think I used to think this should have been his last movie. I used to think he should have hung it up. Really, he was kind of $1 Million Baby. If he stopped at $1 Million Baby, I think his career would have, as a whole, would have been more solid. Like these later movies that kind of, I think, tarnishing it a little bit.
Yeah,
I agree with you. This should have been his last movie. It would have been a great one to end on. I did enjoy The Mule. So. Cry Macho, I was not a fan of. I worried about him the whole movie. He was going to fall over. But The Mule was a good movie. I enjoyed it. But Cry Macho, I couldn't get into it. It was just like I said, I worried about him the whole movie. It kind of took me out of the movie. But
to me, this is probably his last best acted and directed movie. I think after that, it just hasn't been the same. I mean, he tries to play that again in Cry Macho and even in The Mule, but it just doesn't come across as good as like Gran Torino. Even though there's a few things wrong with it, it's still the messages are just better in that one. Like I said, I feel without spoiling anything, that could have been a great swan song of how the movie is.
Yeah.
So
Well, you can see it a little bit in Gran Torino. He's a little weak. His voice, he's not projecting, but he's still got all of his powers in $1 Million Baby, I feel.
Yeah, I like that one too.
So
you still get that sense that he's somebody you don't want to mess with a little bit. He's that guy you don't really want to mess with him. I didn't get that in The Mule and Cry Macho.
He's a florist in The Mule. I mean, he's playing like a soft character.
Bro. But all right. Well, I will start off my number 5 here. And again, guys, y'all know what a big Clint fan I am. This was like picking my favorite kids, as I said before. But I went back and forth with these a lot, put these in order, and my number 5 is going to be Escape from Alcatraz.
Oh yeah, nice.
I mean, I love prison movies. You put Clint Eastwood in a prison movie, sign me up. I'm there. I rewatched this. This is a 4K from Kino. I rewatched this 4K when I got it in. I've seen the movie a gazillion times. The first time I seen this movie was at a drive-in theater here in my local town, and we haven't had a drive-in theater in years. I had to be 8 years old, but I have vivid memories of going to the theater and watching this in theaters. And I'm not gonna say this is the first Clint movie I remember seeing, but it was pretty close to it. So I have an affinity for this movie. I absolutely love it. Clint Eastwood's great in this. You get an early role by Fred Ward. I want to say this is Fred Ward's, rest in peace, his first major acting role was in this movie here, and he does a great job in this. Of course, this is Clint Eastwood and Alcatraz. Everybody knows the story of Alcatraz. This is based, I guess, loosely on a true story. Nobody's ever escaped from Alcatraz. Clint Eastwood and a few other guys escaped from it. The prison closes down shortly thereafter. This is kind of the story based around that. Clint Eastwood's great in this. He doesn't have a whole lot of great one-liners in this movie here. It's more of a serious role. But, all the scenes of them, making the plans, breaking out of the prison. You have 3 or 4 guys that are supposed to be on a time schedule, digging through their tunnels, getting out on a certain date to get out. It's just a lot of tension. It's a lot of great acting. There's a lot of good other characters in this movie that makes the movie even better. But I love Clint in this movie. I'm all about a prison movie. And you put Clint Eastwood in a prison movie, I'm there every day of the week. You know, my picks here, like I said, we could do a top 20 and I would sit here and scratch my head and struggle. But movies, what I kind of did was movies, and I do this with a lot of my top fives. It's movies that I have, you know, nostalgia for. It's movies that I rewatched the most. And this is definitely one that I rewatched the most when it comes to Clint Eastwood. So there was no way it wasn't going to be in my top five. It's amazing to me this is a number 5 because I absolutely adore this movie, but there's so many good Clint Eastwood movies that unfortunately here it is number 5, but it did make the list. And there's some great ones that are just on the back ass of this one right here, but this did make number 5. Yeah. That's where it sits up.
Yeah, that's a great one. Great prison movie, and yeah, just like you said, all the great side characters that connect with Clint Eastwood, and just love how they're all like looking out for the guard where they're chiseling away on the wall and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, they're rooting. Like they're rooting. Yeah. All the other inmates are rooting.
You know, you got the guards walking by, and they got the mannequin heads that they put under the covers, and you think the guy's looking in, and you think it's gonna be a mannequin head, but it's Clint. He's back in his bed, and it's just they do a great job with the tension, man.
That's a great.
You almost feel like you're there in the prison with them, and you're trying. You know, I don't know. They do a great job with it.
I love the
last movie that Don Siegel. Is it Don Siegel? Is that the guy's name?
Yes.
Yeah, and so they did 5 movies together, and this is the last movie that Don Siegel did with Clint Eastwood.
Yeah,
he directed the movie. And they did a lot of great movies together. I want to say that he did the first Dirty Harry as well. But anyway, Don Siegel and Clint Eastwood have a long-standing relationship, and they did some great stuff together.
The black librarian character, his relationship with Clint, that's all great, man.
I like that. Like I said, they kept calling each other boy, which was kind of funny.
Yeah. You know? Well, it was the black guy first calling him boy because he's older, and then Clint says it to him, and it's like he's like the leader of the prison. You know, he's like
he's the man.
Everybody respects him, and like what he says goes, and he says that, and he just looks at him, and they just like they have a really good dynamic in it, and he saves Clint a few times in it without even Clint knowing. It's really
beats
good.
Up the dude in the showers. Remember? That's a good scene.
Yeah. And it gets dark, man. The guy that has the painting or whatever, and they take the painting away from that guy. You know, it gets pretty dark too. I mean, it's
that's a dark scene. Yeah.
The warden is like the male Nurse Ratched.
Yeah. The warden's basically like the Shawshank Redemption warden, very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. We're going to catch up with the chat here, and we'll move on to our number 4 picks.
All right.
Not ordinary saying, Dirtman, awesome intro. Alan, the other day I told you Magnum Force was my favorite, but it's second to the Outlaw Josie Wells. Definitely my favorite. Yeah. We may talk about that one later.
Yeah.
Anthony says, "What's up, Dirk, Holland, Wrangler, Spicy, Allie, Darko, Joker, Ryan, Magic, Steve, Geek Scolder, everyone else in the chat. I think you covered everybody there, man.
Everyone's here. Yeah.
Dirk saying thanks to everybody. Warren says, how's it going, Dr. Ordinary? Everybody saying hey again. All right, Andy says, Dirk, you killed that intro, man. It was fire. All right. Wild Wrangler said, Dirk hit a home run.
Yeah.
And Mama Blu-ray, what's going on? Can't go wrong with Dirty Harry. I agree.
You cannot.
Steve. All right, L.A. Joel saying, hated daddy. I'm doing this getting close to tax time. Be careful of that shit. I'll be using it as a write-off. Ken Carlson said Eastwood recently approved 4K transfers for Dirty Harry films, Kelly Heroes, Pale Rider, and more. Should be seeing those on 4K very soon. Dino does all those.
That's very exciting. Yeah,
I bet
give me a 4K Dirty Harry step.
I bet there'll be a studio, set 4K set.
I want to box the Dirty Harry 4K box. That's what I want. Yeah,
take my money with all those. I want
to steelbook 4K. Yeah, those would be nice.
Yep.
All right. Dirk says, hell yeah, Jase can't ever go wrong with Dirty Harry.
No, you can't.
Well, Harry was just trying to get some lunch. Never ends for Harry. Yeah, poor guy.
Yeah.
Brian, what's going on, buddy? Who the hell is hosting this thing? Hey, man, we're all hosting, man. We're all hosting.
Yeah.
Appreciate being here, buddy. Adrian James says, it looks like Pops is hosting. Yeah, I'm here. I don't know if I'm hosting or not, but I'm here.
You are.
Oh, you're the main man.
Brian says, Dirty Harry C. First time I've seen the Clint set off Pop's shelf. He told me to worry if it was ever gone. Yeah, man, it's right here beside me. It's close by. I promise it's close by.
It's coming. It's going to be
I had to pull it down for this stream.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, man. Brian and Coco, they're awesome. All right, the original fuzz. What's up, guys? Always love squinting with Clint.
Yep.
Dr. Ordinary says Harry Callahan. Yep, it has to be in a Clint top 5 somewhere. Not to mention to the crossover to the real Zodiac case.
Yeah, that was topical at the time.
Yeah, originally originally Dirty Harry movies were going to be set in New York. That was the original plan. And the director, I want to say the director in Clint Eastwood was actually at a 49ers game, and they ended up deciding to have the movies in San Francisco, which I think is Clint Eastwood's hometown. I think. But all right, Scalder says Clint has made too many good films. Really hard to make a top 5. Man, tell me about it.
Very difficult.
Paul says, I remember reading somewhere that originally Gran Torino was meant to be the 6th Dirty Harry film. Yes, it was. That's correct. That would have been interesting.
It would.
Yep. Original Fuzz said the Dirty Harry franchise is the pinnacle of Clint's badassery for me. Yeah. Well said, Brian. The C has been dusted off and manhandled by Pops. Walter says, hey to Brian. Hell yeah, Gran Torino, great one.
Yeah.
Hey, Ryan, the Wild Wrangler. Really like the In the Line of Fire. He and Malkovich are great. Yeah, Malkovich was great.
That was right there. Which that could have been the 5 for me. It was a coin flip.
That's one of the.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on that one, man.
90s.
Right there with you on that. Yeah. Tim, what's going on, man? Gus says, hey, Pops, Tony, Blues, 4K, Tent, and Jase.
Hey, guys.
What's up, Gus?
What up?
Outlaw Josie Wells is one of my favorites. Yeah.
Yep. It's in the background.
Hi, chatty people. Chris C, what's going on, Chris? Good evening, everybody. And I love Gran Torino. Yeah, man. If I say hey to Gus. All right, Tim, what's going on, Tim? Look at that. I was signed in with my personal account before. Anyway, howdy again. What's going on, Tim? Agent James, I hey to Gus. Gran Torino is excellent. Nowadays, they'll call it a white savior film.
Yeah. I don't know who he saves, but anyway, if you've seen the movie, it wasn't like it doesn't end the way I think it was perfect the way they ended it, but it doesn't end the way you think it's going to end. Like you're thinking Taxi Driver or something,
Right. All right. So everybody still say hey to each other. Let's see.
Yeah,
Tim says, doing great, Adrian. Hopefully you are as well. All right. Whoop. All right. Spicy 4K actually said, great choice, Brad. Yeah. I really like Gran Torino. All right. Tim says, as for the topic, Escape from Alcatraz is a badass movie and would be in my top 5. Dirty Harry would be as well.
Yeah.
All right, Andy says, what's up, Wrangler? Chris says, Gran Torino was a very good film, yes. Reminded me a bit about my grandfather. He was a WW2 vet and union plumber for about 30 years. Yeah.
It's very much like an old man. He has the same car, the same truck, the same cooler. You can tell the cooler's from the 50s that he keeps his beer in. I mean.
And that lab in the movie was Clint Eastwood's dog in real life, by the way. That was actually his dog.
Yeah.
That's nice.
All right. Joe Joker says, I cannot stop laughing that Clint casted his son as the wannabe Slim Shady in Gran Torino. Yeah. I got a note about that maybe later if it's in my top 5.
If that comes up again.
That scene where he gets on to his son, whatever. And by the way, I watched the interview. It was on some YouTube channel I watched randomly. But Scott Eastwood was talking about his dad, whatever. And when he goes into like a casting call and his dad's directing a movie, he goes in like any Joe Schmo off the street, whatever, to apply for this role, whatever. And he said his dad treats him like anybody else. He says, if his dad didn't like him for the role, he will fire his ass. He won't hire him. And I just think it's funny, whatever, that Clint is so damn hard. That's just Clint. That's just Clint Eastwood right there. His son comes in for a role for one of his movies, and his dad basically won't hire him. He says, no, you're not right for the role. It's like, come on, man, this is his kid. It's just Clint Eastwood. He's just old school. But he says his dad don't play, man. But if you guys have never seen the movie called Diablo, there's a movie out there called Diablo where Scott Eastwood plays in. There's a scene early in the movie where he's riding in on a horse. It could be Clint Eastwood from Good, Bad, and the Ugly and all those movies, man. It looks just like his dad. It's crazy.
I like the
movie.
Yeah. Diablo, if you haven't seen that, it's good. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's pretty crazy. All right, Tim says, awesome choice, Alan. Appreciate it, Tim. Bob's Blu-rays. What's going on, Bob?
Bob.
Good to see you, man. Says, hey, appreciate you being here.
What up?
Vincent Live. I'm saying that right. What's up, buddy? Hey to Bob. What's up, Pops? Tony, Brad, Jason, chat. All right, Bob says, Sub Hall and Anthony, Clint Eastwood is the man, one of my favorite directors and actors. Yeah, we're just doing his acting roles, man. He's got so many movies that he directed that are just bomb. I mean, absolutely just classic movies, man.
Pretty great behind the camera.
Yeah, we decided to keep just his acting roles here, but man, it's crazy the movies he directed that are so good. Vincent said, "Dirty Harry." What's up, Mika? Say hey to everybody.
Hey, Mika.
Hello.
Everybody say hey to Mika. All right, Wild Wrangler says, I remember Escape from Alcatraz VHS cover. Yeah. Yeah, I got very few movies I remember seeing in the drive-in back in the day. I know that the Escape from Alcatraz was one. Another was Smokey and the Bandit. I remember seeing that in theaters. I mean, in the drive-in. And we had a drive-in here in so many years. But yeah, those are good memories.
Me too.
Well, I'm saying, hey.
You see Tony light up.
Love Clint Eastwood. Yeah, man. I'm so excited. Brad, who is it? Is it Umbrella that's putting out that box of Burt? That Umbrella?
Umbrella. Yeah.
Tony, did you order that?
I haven't yet, no, but I want to.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a pre-order, man. I'm pretty excited about that. I love me some Burt Reynolds now. Mika says, hey to Bob. Yeah. Chris says, my number one is High Plains Drifter. Love that Western film. It's a good one.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's you've got to ask yourself one question: do I feel lucky? What do you punk?
Yep, that's the iconic line.
And that line is misquoted very often, by the way. Very often. Ken Carlson says Scorpio's theme for Dirty Harry was taken from Led Zeppelin's "The Immigrant Song."
Yeah, that actor was great in that role too.
Yeah, Monty.
Yeah. Ken says that Carpenter riff, the Immigrant Song. Assault on Precinct 13 theme. Then Carpenter. Okay. AKA Crush, what's going on?
What up, Crush?
Thumbs up there.
My buddies.
Brian Goes Blue says, I feel like these films are a lot more accessible than some of the boutique horror we watch. That being said, I can count on my hand how many Eastwood films I've seen. Favorite is for a few dollars more. Yeah, good one.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Paul Smith says Thunderbolt and Lightfoot, another great early movie, yo.
Yep.
Underrated.
It's a good one.
Oh, absolutely.
Ben Buster, what's going on, man? Hello to all.
Up?
Adrian James says, hey, Ben Buster. Because I think my five would be $1 Million Baby, The Gauntlet, Gran Torino, Sudden Impact, and Bridges of Madison County.
Oh, yeah.
Me and my wife watched Bridges of Madison County the other night, and I hadn't seen that in forever. And we got done with the movie, and my wife's like, I'm twisted. I like the movie, but man, she cheated on her husband, man. She's like, how can you get behind these characters? They had enough. So she had a hard time with that, but it was a good movie.
Yeah.
You don't see Clint cry too often, so that was unique.
No, that was a sad one.
But it's a good flick. Trini said, Crush. Ben Bush is doing well. All right. Scolder 22 says Scott Eastwood needs to work with good directors when director is not up to the task for making his acting is lacking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wild Wrangler says, I know Pop's favorite movie is Revenge of the Creature, Clint's first. Yeah. Yeah, you don't have a real big role in that one, but
yeah, a lot of them were, we're not gonna game the system either. Like American Sniper, he's in it, but he's not in it. He's a church member or something in it. He's not actually in it.
And something else I forgot to mention when I was doing my research on Escape from Alcatraz. Did y'all know that Escape from Alcatraz was Danny Glover's first time on screen?
Yep.
There is. I didn't realize that. There is a small scene. I got to go back and watch it because I guess I miss it every time. But when they're passing out books, whatever, there's one little shot that's got Danny Glover in it, and that's his first time ever being on screen anywhere. Yep. So I need to rewatch it again and see if I can pick that up. I've always missed that, I guess, but I've seen it in my research.
Thanks for the code. I'm going to get that code for that 15% off.
Nice.
Very nice.
Yep. So there's a 15% off code for Umbrella, and it works on the Burt set when you want it, Tony. Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Rob. What's going on, man? Yeah, it's not. Nice to see some discussion of Don Siegel, one of the great underrated directors. Very solid filmography, and of course, his influence on Clint as the director. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Ben Bush, I love In the Line of Fire. Yeah, man.
That's a great one.
It's a great one. Dr. Ordinary says, speaking of his children, crazy to think Allison Eastwood is 50. Lets you know how long Clint's been around. Yeah.
Oh yeah, she was in a lot of his films as well. Yeah.
Yeah, another one of his sons played in that movie, Honky Tonk Man, with him back in the day. If you guys ever seen Honky Tonk Man, it's an underrated movie. It definitely bombed when it came out, but it's a fun movie to watch. So, yeah, guys, we're caught up with the chat. Appreciate everybody being here. We still got 39 people out there, so we will move on with our number 4. Jase, you're up, buddy.
Yep, number 4. Well, this might start a bit of a theme in my list, but I had to put this one up. It is none other than High Plains Drifter.
Oh yeah.
As most of you guys know, I'm a huge Western fan. This was actually Clint Eastwood's very first Western he directed, and it's just brilliant. It has that sort of supernatural feel that Eastwood puts in some of his Westerns, and the thing about this, he's not really a hero or superhero or anything. He's a bit of a asshole villain in this movie in a way, because he comes into this town, he just bosses them around. He doesn't care about any of them. He's just there for his own self. In the first 5 minutes of the movie, he's killing guys. He rapes a girl. He does all that, and he's just selfish. That's really what he is. But there's also something else about this guy. Like, is he someone from the past, or is he a relative of the sheriff? Because we keep getting these flashbacks in the movie. This town's all on edge because apparently 3 of these outlaws are coming back to teach this town a lesson, and they all think, this guy is going to help them, but he really doesn't. He's just there to, teach them to do it your own way and fend for yourself in a way. That's what Eastwood does. But again, you got the iconic lines, just the perfect Eastwood Western, real gritty feel, violent, and I love High Plains Drifter. It's got that. I've always enjoyed it right from when I was a young boy up until now. I'm really glad to get this now on the Kino 4K that just got released recently, and very, very happy with this in my top 5. So that is High Plains Drifter.
I liked at the beginning. Jase said, I don't know if everybody knows this, but I'm kind of a Western fan. You look over his right shoulder, there's a shrine.
Well, that was made for the stream.
Yeah. You can't see him. He's actually wearing a holster with 2 6-shooters right now. He wears all the time.
So I'm sure most of you guys have seen High Plains Drifter, but I just love it. It was a great first Western for Eastwood. Perfect. He just did that one just after Play Misty for me. So good one.
First directing role.
Very dark Western. Yeah.
It really is. Great pick, man. Great pick.
Yep.
All right, man. Tony, what's up, buddy?
So my number 4 is Escape from Alcatraz. I love prison break movies. To me, this is probably one of the best, if not the best. I know that we've already talked a lot about it already, but this is an American prison thriller film directed by Don Siegel, based off of a book, and it is a prisoner escapes from maximum security prison on Alcatraz Island. Of course, it stars Clint Eastwood and features Patrick McGooney, Fred Ward, Larry Hankin, and also the first appearance of Danny Glover. To me, I think, like I said, I do like prison break movies. I enjoyed Prison Break, the TV show. I thought that first season was great, and that would have never happened, I don't think, if it wasn't for Escape from Alcatraz.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. That was a great show.
My
kids introduced me to that show.
It's the first big.
Oh, it was good. First 2 seasons.
Hollywood prison break movie. There had been exploitation ones before, but this was the first big Hollywood production. Prison movie. Yeah,
and to me, it almost reminds me a little bit of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah.
In my mind, whenever I think about those films, there's a lot of similarities between both.
The little Italian guy, that helps him. That's got the mouse.
Right.
That's with pasta, that character, and a lot happens to Clint Eastwood's character in the, you could tell he's like a hard, lone wolf type guy, and he starts to become friends with these prisoners for the first time, and then the horrible things start happening to them, and it kind of drives him to escape.
Yeah, and you know, Shawshank Redemption reminds me a lot of that film, also.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And you know the anxiety level, man. That one guy that's behind on getting this whole done and everything. He's like everybody else has already left, and it's the one buddy whatever that's trying to get out of a cell, and you feel that anxiety of him trying to catch up with everybody. It's like they did such a great job with that.
Yeah, the tension and everything's just amazing.
Yeah. Really well made film.
It's based on a true story, also. I mean, those were
really good. Because it has like little credits, about that. Yep.
Yeah, great pick, Tony.
Thanks.
That was a good one.
Okay. My number 4, Magnum Force.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to be somewhere in your list.
I love this movie. I think it's the darkest of all of his movies. But it's the one I watched the most out of all the Dirty Harrys. Directed by Ted Post, 1973. Takes place in San Francisco, like all of his movies. Movie follows Dirty Harry Callahan, Clint Eastwood. This time he's back on the streets to take down a vigilante group of killers dressed like California State Highway Patrol officers.
Mm-hmm.
They think it's one at first, but it ends up being a group of them. I can tell you this without a doubt. Sylvester Stallone and who's the director? The same guy directed Tombstone, Cobra.
George Campoulos, the Greek guy, George Campoulos or something.
Yeah, he's great. Cosmatos.
Cosmatos.
Great director. Only did a few movies, but Tombstone's one of them. Cobra's one of them. Anyway, that definitely took inspiration from this directly. Dirty Harry in general, that character, Cobretti, I've always loved this one. It's always on TV growing up. Like I said, darkest of the series. I watched it, over and over again. It has all the earmarks of a Dirty Harry movie. The 44 Magnum, of course, the Model 29 Smith & Wesson. The hideous suits that he's constantly wearing with the patches on his elbows. It's California. It's hot. He's wearing wool everywhere. Anybody ever noticed that? I always thought that was weird. The constant racial slurs flying, black, white, green, doesn't matter what color you are. They're all constantly throwing them back and forth at each other. Like I said, different time, 70s, almost a mocking kind of, friendly way. Callahan constantly being dressed down by the police for his police work and his excessive use of force, destruction of property. Every movie is the exact same way.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere he goes, 3 things are always happening. He's constantly eating, which carries through in every movie.
Yes.
Some sort of crime is going to break out wherever the hell he's at. It doesn't matter where he is. He goes to the airport, a hijacking takes place. I mean, he's getting the hot dog. They rob the store across the street. He goes for coffee. They rob the coffee shop. I mean, crime follows him everywhere. But when the hijacking scene, when he shows up dressed as a pilot, he reaches up and goes, "Can I make him a suggestion?" As he's still eating the hamburger, and then it cuts to him as a pilot. I lose it every time because this is going nowhere good. But he's going to save the day, of course. And generally, he's going to kill people as he's eating. That's another trope that I've always noticed. He's still chewing as he's blowing people away. Also, wherever he goes, the women are just throwing themselves at him. I don't know if everybody else noticed that, but this guy he's beating them off with a stick everywhere he goes. I mean, he's got it going on. It's San Francisco, tall, it's working. Anyway, story's very dark and inventive, I thought. It turns out it's a group of vigilante killers who actually try to recruit him to join them because it seems like, hey, why wouldn't you? You hate criminals, clearly you don't really care about the rules. Why don't you just join up with us? He's got to have the record for most fatal police shootings in the department, you would think. I mean, every one that 4 people get shot and killed, but it's just a good one, man. I like the story. I like it even better than the first one. It's dark, it's gritty. You get a lot of bang for your buck with this. A lot of shootouts, and it ends in a real corruption angle and all that stuff. It becomes a vast conspiracy. And anyway, if you haven't seen Magnum Force, it's a really slept on sequel. It's a good one.
Yeah, that's my second favorite.
It's the best out of the 4.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people say
mine too.
it's really solid.
Yeah, definitely me too.
Very rewatchable. It's a good flick. All right. Well, most of my Clint movies are in that box set that you see missing behind me there. So this next one's going to be, and this one here from 2006 to 2012, and I will show you which one it is here. It's going to be this one here, which is Gran Torino.
Oh, okay.
That is going to be my number 4 pick.
Nice.
Yeah, this one here is very special to me. Me and my wife went and seen this in theaters, and I'm a big Clint Eastwood fan, bigger than she is, but she knew how excited I was going to see this in theaters. A new Clint film. First we'd had him starring in it for a while. Came out in 2008, and absolutely blew me away. Now you got to give this guy credit. Somebody his age when this movie came out, to star and direct in a movie that hits that hard. He did such a great role in this movie. It's the basic premise of the movie. The movie was, like I said, he stars in it. It was directed by Clint Eastwood. It's a disgruntled Korean War veteran, Walt Kowalski, who sets out to reform his neighbor, Tal, a Hmong teenager who tried to steal Kowalski's prized possession, the 1972 Gran Torino. Doesn't sound like much of a plot, but with somebody like Clint Eastwood in the role, the back and forth between him and this kid, the relationship that they grow during this movie, it's absolutely fantastic. I've rewatched this movie many times. I could throw one in right now and just enjoy every single second of it. There's so many lines in this movie, and I wrote down a lot of quotes. Now, in this movie here, I had to write down a few quotes because he has so many great ones. I had to be careful with the quotes because some of the quotes are not really YouTube friendly. Because if like I said, there's slurs to everybody in this. So if anybody gets offended with stuff like that, don't watch this movie. It's just you have to understand it's the character. But one of my favorites, I won't read all these. I put a bunch of quotes down here. I started putting down my favorite quotes from this movie, and I got paragraphs. So I'm just going to do one of my favorite ones that really stand out for me. It's when he pulls up, and his next door neighbor and his son, Scott Eastwood, are being harassed, whatever, by the kids in the street, whatever. And he pulls up in the truck, whatever. It is my favorite scene from the entire movie. And I'm just going to say that one quote there. First thing he says, whatever, when he gets out of the truck, whatever. Let me find that line here. Hold on. Like I said, I have paragraphs here. Got a little silence on YouTube, right? He says the guy on the street says, "What are you looking at, old man?" And he says, "Ever notice how you come across somebody once in a while that you shouldn't have fucked with?" He said, "That's me." And then, of course, you got Scott Eastwood after he stands up to all these guys. Scott Eastwood's trying that, like, yo, whatever. And he looks at his son. It's just funny that it's father and son to me. It's just funny that it's father and son to me. And he says, excuse my language. He says, "Shut up, pussy. What is all this bro shit anyway? These guys don't want to be your bro, and I don't blame them. Now get your oafy patty ass down the road." And it's just funny to me that he's talking to his son like this. And it's just, I don't know. I love that scene. And when I first seen the movie, I didn't even realize that was his son. I didn't find out till later on when Scott Eastwood started kind of becoming more of a known actor that was his son rewatching it. But it's one of my favorite scenes in the movie. And like I said, it's just Clint Eastwood is just an old, grizzled old guy, whatever, that takes no bullcrap. And it's one of the things I love about the movie. I love the way it ends. I love the relationship between him and his next door neighbors, how they go from being, kind of standoffish to each other. They need some help. Of course, he stands up, whatever, and protects them. They become close friends, whatever. It's just a great story. There's nothing about this movie that I dislike. I love his relationship with him and the preacher, the pastor, whatever. How he is relentless. He keeps on coming after him because I promised your wife I would look after you, And then when he finally goes to confession, when he's been in the war, he's seen all kind of horrendous stuff, whatever. And like Brad said earlier, his two sins were those very minuscule sins compared to probably some of the stuff he did in the war. But that's what's bothered him his whole life. And you could tell he was just an old guy that his kids didn't understand. He didn't have a relationship with his kids. And his, later years in life, whatever, he was able to find that father relationship with this kid next door that needed somebody so bad or whatever. It's just all around a great story. And somebody that is at his age that could direct and act in a movie that powerful to me just absolutely stands out as why this guy is one of the best for me. But that's going to be my number 4. And I could probably talk for 20 more minutes on that, but I'm shutting up. Brad, I'll let you rearrange everybody while I'm talking here. Yeah, exactly. I got paragraphs, dude, of quotes I did from that movie.
Oh,
So
no,
I'm not going to bore
great.
everybody, read every one of these.
Even like we talked about earlier, when he has that sort of banter with the barber and he's trying to teach Tao, the young boy, how to talk to.
All the stuff on the lawn too, where he's like, you used to stack you 5 high, usually like sandbags. To the little gangster kid.
No, when the kid comes back into the barbershop after they kind of teach him what to say, and he comes back in the barbershop, I did write that down. I'm going to say that real fast because it's funny as hell to me. He comes back into the barbershop trying to be like a man, talk like one of the guys. He says, "Excuse me, sir, I need a haircut if you ain't too busy. You old Italian son of a bitch, prick barber." He says, "Boy, does my ass hurt from all the guys at my construction job." It's so funny, man. It's so funny.
Yeah. Love it.
But anyway, we'll go ahead and catch up with the chat here and we'll move on. Like I said, let me hush because like I said, I could get on a rampage here and I don't want to bore everybody. Well, the person we enjoyed it was probably me.
We're only in the bottom 2. Wait till he gets up to like 2 or 1. That's when you got to start playing the Oscar playoff music.
Yeah, Ray, you just tell me when to hush and I'll stop talking.
We might have to play the good, bad, the ugly music.
Yeah, start playing that and I'll stop talking. All right, where do we leave off of there, guys?
Sure.
I think this is about right. Sorry if I missed anybody. Chris says, "Hell yeah, High plays Drifter. The devil paints the town red."
Yeah, Largo. Yeah.
Literally, the town's red.
Yeah, he does.
Oh yeah. All right. Adrian James says, "The Unforgiven is another great one." Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a feeling that The Unforgiven is going to pop up here in a minute. I'd be surprised if it doesn't. Scholar says, "Westerns. What are those?"
Yeah.
All right. That's going to be one that, well, let me just hush. All right. Johnny Darko says, "I thought that was Danny Glover." Yep.
Yeah. I got to check that out.
Ken said, "Yeah, I got to go back and watch it because I never picked up on that. Did not do that."
Me either. Yeah.
All right. Ken says, "Speaking of Prison Break films, we need Papillion with Steve McQueen in 4K.
Oh, yeah.
I've actually never seen that movie.
Yes.
That's a great
Never
movie.
seen that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just watched that again recently. Really good movie. Steve McQueen and Dustin Hoffman.
Yes.
It's the 50th anniversary. This one has a slight edge over Alcatraz, in my opinion.
1973, so it is 50 years. That's a good one.
There was a remake of that too, which didn't do very well.
Wasn't as good, right? Yeah.
No. Oh, yeah.
It was, that's right. The guy from the latest Bond movie, the villain, he was in that. Yeah.
There's a modern prison movie called Shot Caller that I thought was really good. That just came out a couple years ago. You haven't seen that? That's a good one. It's got Jamie Lannister from Game of Thrones in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'd say that was actually a recommendation from one of our past streams, Brad, and I watched that the next day, and that was a great movie. It was worth seeing Jamie Lannister in that role. yeah, really good. All right, Trinity says, "Scolder, did you say Westerns are meh?" Chris says, "Oh yeah, the Deadpool is Dirty Harry movie as well, right? Yep, that's the 5th one, right? There was 5 total.
The last one,
movies, right?
Shoots
probably the worst one,
like harpoon at the end.
That's right. The journalist chick, not great.
All right, Scolder is y'all see that? I'm not gonna sound stupid and try to say pew pew. All right, Dirk says, "Hell yeah, Alan and Tony Escape from Alcatraz is highly rewatchable. It really is, man. Really is."
Yeah, it was close.
There was not a lot of fat on that movie, man. It starts off with him riding on a boat into the prison, and it just gets
from the very beginning.
Get right into
There's
it.
no like mucking around, right into it. Yeah,
pouring rain
looks really nice as well.
Pouring rain, and they take him into the abyss that is the prison all the way. And it takes forever to get to his cell, and it just lets you know what how daunting it is to get out of there.
Yeah. And some other useless trivia that I read up. I didn't read it because it was just trivia, but Alcatraz was one of the only prisons that had running hot water because they wanted all the prisoners to get used to the hot water to make the cold water around the prison seem even more cold. In case they ever tried to escape, whatever. So they always kept hot water in the prison to keep the prisoners acclimated to the hot water. I thought that was interesting. All right, Paul says David Soul is there as well. Starsky and Hutch.
Yeah.
Rob says, yes, the HPD, Ernest Tidyman writes and Clint directs the hell out of it. All right. Dirk says, Magnum Force was my first Clint film I ever watched. Great pick. Nice, man.
Oh, that's killer.
Yeah.
All All right. Ralph Laney, what's going on? Says, go ahead and make my day. Do you feel lucky, punk? Yeah. Tony, do you remember back in the day? I had it on a 45 record. You may be the only one here that I can talk to about this. Do you remember back in the day they had they had a song? It was like a country song called "Go Ahead, Make My Day," and it came out to be a country song. But it was based on that line, and it was just a country song that talked about Clint. And then right in the middle of the song, it would have that line from the Clint Eastwood from "Go Ahead, Make My Day" line. That one. Yeah, but it was called "Go Ahead, Make My Day," and they made a country song out of it. I have to look it up.
That'd be fun.
I had a 45 record of that.
Yeah, you need to get it for your collection.
Yeah, I need to. All right. Dirk said, Gran Torino is definitely in my top 5 of Clint's and really speaks volumes how Clint still makes a banger in his later years. I totally agree.
You know, a lot of people though trash Gran Torino. There's a whole bunch of people that just don't like it, which I never could understand.
Well, if there was somebody that wasn't really a Clint fan and had watched all of his past filmography and really knew, like grew up loving Clint, whatever, and just watched that as kind of a first entry point, maybe I can see that.
Yeah. I can understand the later ones, but not so much that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think maybe the ending may have been a turn that people weren't ready for.
Yeah.
Maybe they were thinking it was going to be something else. It's very poignant the way the ending happens, I feel.
Well, yeah, especially that ending without going too much detail. If you're an Eastwood fan, that's going to hit you in a different way than the general movie fan. So, I think for all of us here, it probably hit us a lot differently than most of general people.
Yeah, because Clint's usually the guy that rides off in the sunset. He's not the guy that, not a spoiler alert, but, he may not ride off in the sunset in this one. Let's just say that.
Maybe not. Right. Yeah, maybe not.
All right. Ralph Laney says, I own more Clint Eastwood than I have of the Duke John Wayne.
Oh, that's the next stream. John Wayne. I'll take over that one.
All right, Brian Goes Blue says, damn it, when I hear Jase talk about Westerns, it always makes me want to watch one. High Plains Drifter sounds like the next one up for me. Yeah, man.
Yeah, definitely, Brian. I think you'd like that one.
Yeah.
All right, Skulls. The Shot Caller was great, Scholar may be the one that recommended that one in the chat one night, but that was a good recommendation.
Good.
Jamie Hart, what's going on? Hey guys, stopping in to leave my weekly.
Nice.
Jase is here now. The lady show up.
Yeah, of course. We got one of the pretty boys on here. All right, Ralph Laney says, I remember several years back, CBS used to have 24 hours of Eastwood the day after Thanksgiving. I always watch it. Oh yeah. All right. Yeah, my dad stayed on TBS and TNT most of the time because they either had a Charles Bronson, a Clint Eastwood,
Gauntlet,
Chuck Norris movie.
Gauntlet, Hang 'em High. They were always playing.
Yeah, it was always playing at my house too.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, we were caught up in the chat again. We're going to move on to our number 3, guys. And Jase, you are back on the clock, buddy.
Okay. So number 3, continuing on the theme. Someone just mentioned this, but could have been higher, could have been maybe even lower, but love this one. Unforgiven, 1993. This is where he won a bunch of Oscars. This is his very last Western, of course. Great cast, Gene Hackman, of course, Morgan Freeman, Richard Harris, as well as the legend Clint Eastwood. And this is a kind of a different type of Western in a way, because Clint Eastwood at the beginning, he's just a simple farmer. He's got 2 little kids. His wife's just passed, and he's trying to get out of that outlaw life. His wife kind of changed him in a way, but something happens in this town. These cowboys cut up these prostitutes, and these prostitutes go out on like a bounty for these cowboys, and Clint Eastwood gets called on by this young guy and to go up there and do something about it. So it's sort of like Clint Eastwood getting back into the saddle in a way, literally, because at the beginning he can't even shoot properly or even ride a horse, and he sort of syncs up with his old pal Morgan Freeman, and they go on this sort of mission to hunt down these cowboys. And it's just a great film. And just that scene towards the end when it's raining and Eastwood gets in the bar to face Gene Hackman, who's so good in this as well as Wild Bill. I love that confrontation. It's one of the better Western sort of confrontations that I've ever seen. And the music to this is great, and just the violent feel, and the sort of like a guy trying to escape his demons in a way and trying to get out of that lifestyle and just be a simple farmer. But it always comes back, this outlaw lifestyle. I just thought it was really brilliant, deserves all the awards. And if this is to be Clint Eastwood's last Western, which it probably will be, I'm happy with that because it was a great one and I really enjoy it. And as I've got older, I've liked this one a lot more. I think when I was younger, maybe I didn't like it as much, but as I've got older and more mature, yeah, this is definitely one of the best. And very happy to have it in my top 5. So that's number 3, Unforgiven.
It's an oddball Western because the shooting is limited at best, and then they're not. It's very sloppy. They don't, they're really rusty or they don't know what they're doing, and
even
it's
like
not your typical Clint Eastwood where he shoots apples off trees and stuff.
Exactly. Even the little kid, the kid with them, he's pretending he's this guy that's killed a lot of people, but he's really just
Schofield kid.
Vanilla. Yeah, the Schofield kid. He's a vanilla. He hasn't never seen action, and he sort of got this big idea about Clint Eastwood's character, William Money, I think it was. And it's just the journey the three of them go on to this town, and even a great little performance by Richard Harris, who plays the Duke,
English
the Duck,
Bob.
as English Bob.
English Bob. Yeah,
it's Gene Hackman in that scene where it kind of whips him and like makes fun of him and takes his scribe away from him as well. That's a great scene. But it's a brilliant Western, and I think even if you're not a Western fan, I think you could enjoy this one. It's got a bit more than your typical like guns and cowboys and stuff like that. I think it's got quite a more of a story and like more meaning to it. Yeah.
Great number 3.
I'm sitting there biting my tongue, man, because I want to talk so much about this movie. I'm gonna shut up and wait till later.
It's gonna happen, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
So
I'm kind of with Brian on that. So go ahead. Sorry, I'm shutting up.
Okay, no, you go ahead, Alan. Seriously.
I agree with Brian. I hear Jase talk about a Western. It makes me want to watch a Western right now for some reason.
So my number 3 is In the Line of Fire. I actually rewatched this one again today. It's been a while since I'd seen it. And this one is probably where Clint was getting a little older. You can tell it in this film. This is probably the first film I remember him actually looking like he had aged a lot from the previous ones. But it's an American political action thriller directed by Wolfgang Peterson. Of course, it stars Clint Eastwood and John Malkovich, which I think John Malkovich really played a great villain in this one. Has Rene Russo in it as a love interest, which I thought worked out very well. It's about a delusioned and obsessed former CIA agent. The CIA agent, to me, I thought that was a good take on being a villain.
Later in the movie, you find that out, and
exactly. And to me, I thought that was really good. It also stars Dylan McDermott, Gary Cole, John Mahoney. So it's got an all-star cast. The film was a critical and commercial success. It grossed $187 million against a $40 million production budget. Wow. And it also earned 3 nominations at the 66th Academy Award. So to me, I think this right here is probably one of his best ones, and that's why it's my number 3.
Extremely underrated.
Yeah, definitely.
Underrated.
Yeah, man, that's
just when the movie starts to slow. When it starts to slow down a little bit, you get this CIA reveal where you find out that this character is a lot worse than they even thought.
Right, exactly.
And you see him; he murders people for literally no reason. Even at the suspicion that they might know something about him, he murders them. Yes. I thought John Malkovich is great in it, and it was really close to being my 5.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the way he created the weapon, the gun.
Yeah, makes a gun out of polymer. I love the disguises too. It reminds me of the Jackal,
Okay.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and like you said, the fact that anybody that could catch up on what he was doing, he just plainly just killed them right there.
Yeah.
The 2 women. It didn't matter who they were.
Yeah.
To me, I thought that was really interesting. It was just entertaining altogether.
You're talking about this is the first movie where it really shows he's starting to age a little bit. When he's like, gets the detail to run by the car again. And you see him getting winded, trying to run by the car. You got, being an older guy, you can kind of appreciate that a little bit.
Oh yeah, and just in the way he indicates that's even it is an unnecessary thing for them to do.
Yeah.
Right.
If somebody shoots at that car, no bullets are going to go through it.
Yeah.
But here they are running around trying to make the president look important.
Yeah, when he hooks up with Rene Russo, who's about 4 decades younger than him, He hooks up with Renee, and he's like, they're going to the bed, and they're dropping like guns and clubs and handcuffs and radios and all this stuff. I love that. But of course, they get called away. Clint Eastwood's laying in the bed, and he's like, "No, I gotta put all that shit back on." I love that. I love
talking about Gran Torino and his attitudes and his thoughts about people.
Yeah.
It carries over into this film also. It's the same. He's the same in every film. He's irreverent. He doesn't care what he says to people. He doesn't take anything from anybody.
He's definitely burned out in Secret Service too long. But when Booth calls him every time, this is the guy he's after. Booth calls him. He's like, "What do you want?" Instead of being like real like attentive and listening, he's like, "What is it now? I'm gonna catch you. We know it. You know it. I know it." I don't know. I just I really enjoy rewatching it.
I'm a big believer
that a movie's even better when you have a villain. Yeah, when you have a villain that's good in the movie, it makes it even better. And John Malkovich is a villain in this movie. It brings it to that kind of next level.
Yeah, he's always good in villain roles. Yeah, I agree. That's a great pick.
I think the chameleon too, the disguises and whatnot really worked in this. I thought, and it makes it look all different ways, and that's a good one. Man. I really underrated.
Yeah, no doubt. Great pick, Tony.
Thanks.
Well, my number 3, Unforgiven.
Yeah, we get
this. Great one. I mean, later Western, but so good. Directed by Clint Eastwood. Takes place in the Old West, but shot in Canada. Movie follows William Money, the killer of women and children, played by Clint Eastwood, former gunfighter and bandit turned broken down pig farmer, probably playing 60, which is like 1,000 in the Old West. But he's lured back to begin a gunfighter, hired by a group of prostitutes after one of them gets her face carved up by some Johns. He recruits his old run buddy, Ned, from back in their killing days, played by Morgan Freeman. He's great in everything. I mean, I don't even need to say it. They both need money. They're both broke, and, you are what you are kind of thing. That's what the movie, is kind of saying. Enter Gene Hackman as Little Bill, the local sheriff. I think he's the standout in this. I've said it a million times. I think this is a Gene Hackman movie, personally, but that's just me. I love his character. He's technically the villain, but I don't see it that way. He's just a man doing his job, and that's the job. You steer the ship the best way you know, and he did what he thought was right, and some people didn't like it, and just it is what it is. You're not going to please everybody in that role, especially during that time. Anyway, I don't know why he's called Little Bill, but I wanted an explanation on that, because he's like a big badass guy. He whips everybody's ass all the time, and everybody's afraid of him. But
his wife gave him that name. His wife gave him that name. Probably. Dead wife, or she's never in the movie.
But I love the whole bit between Little Bill and English Bob. We talked about it a little before, but basically English Bob is a famous gunfighter. He's in town. Supposedly, Little Bill thinks he's here to collect the bounty from the prostitute, but who knows why he's there? He never says. I don't remember if he does, but he's a famous gunfighter, English Bob, a bad man, and Gene Hackman is also a famous gunfighter and a worse man. So they have a history, obviously, and I love when they run into each other on the street. And Little Bill says, "You out here talking about the Queen again on Independence Day?" And then just whips his ass up and down the street. I love that whole bit. Everything about that's great. Their whole interaction. It's a long part in the movie, and he gives Bob the option to have a fight with him, and Bob turns him down. And then when he sends him out of town, he gives him his gun back, and the barrel's bent. He says, "If I see you again, I'm going to assume that you're here to kill me, and I'm going to shoot first. So don't let me see you again." And sends him back. And I just love that whole bit. But the standout scene for me, hands down, is when Money hears that Ned is dead. Throughout the movie, it comes out that he doesn't drink anymore. His wife that died civilized him and saved him from all the killing that he used to do. But he didn't do the killing sober, or he didn't kill he did the killing drunk usually. So he doesn't drink anymore. He doesn't want to open that door back up. But he hears Ned is dead and on display with a sign on him in front of the saloon, and immediately grabs the whiskey and starts drinking because he knows it's coming, And the famous line,
that character.
Yeah. Oh yeah, hell of a thing killing a man. It's a winner. It won tons of awards. It's a great one. It's an unconventional Western, but it's a lot of fun. And if you haven't seen it, there's a 4K available. It's studio release. This one still looks pretty good, but grab the 4K and check it out.
Yeah. I do remember that scene when Gene Hackman's trying to build a house and they're kind of making fun of him because he's building it the wrong way.
Everybody's talking about it. He's a terrible carpenter.
Everybody's afraid to tell him. Everybody's afraid to tell him that he's screwing it up. But and then the scribe says, maybe you should hang the carpenter who built this house. And Hackman does not think that's funny.
Yeah, because it's raining, there's leaking everywhere. He has buckets everywhere catching the water.
Yeah.
I'm here for you, Bill.
And you're talking about the that long scene with him and English Bob, whatever, when he's telling the reporter guy the story about what really went down. And that whole scene, man, where he's talking to the reporter about calling him the Duck instead of the Duke. It's just it's a great scene.
And English Bob knows right away what kind of trouble he's in. As soon as he sees little Bill, you can tell he turns white, and he knows that he's pretending to be a badass. He's running into an actual badass.
Yeah, and I do think he was definitely there for the bounty. I mean, why else would he be coming to this town randomly? I think he was definitely there for the bounty.
Oh yeah, he was definitely.
Yeah, that's a great pick, man. All right, I'm gonna go on my number 3 here. I'm in tough territory here, guys. These top 3, man, they were hard to place, but I almost can't look y'all in the camera. I can't look y'all in the eye and give this number 3 pick because anyway, my number 3 pick is going to be Dirty Harry. And I guess I can show my. I don't have the actual release of Dirty Harry anymore. I do just have it in here.
There you go.
That's the right one.
That's a cool set.
Anyway, it's in here somewhere. But anyway, this is Dirty Harry, and this is
You should have held up my characters. Ball. You should have just held up the doll.
It's right back there. Right there. It's my Dirty Harry doll. I got a video, by the way. Not a lot of people have watched that video. Go watch my Dirty Harry unboxing of my doll. It's not a doll, it's an action figure. It's an action figure, it's not a doll. I'm 51 years old, I don't have dolls. I have action figures. There you go, it's a collectible. No, that Clint Eastwood thing, that's right next to him real soon is going to be the Man with No Name doll action figure from Sideshow. It's going to be sitting right beside him here in a couple of weeks. So y'all watch for that video coming up soon. Anyway, Dirty Harry, my number 3 pick. 1971. It's already been talked about. Harry Callahan. It's my favorite character that Clint Eastwood plays. I love the Man with No Name, trilogies. Clint Eastwood's got so many great characters, but when it comes right down to it, Dirty Harry is my favorite. Love all the Dirty Harry movies, but the first one, I know me and Brad has talked about this before. I think his favorite is number 2, but my favorite is the original Dirty Harry. It's iconic as hell. It's got the scene, Do You Feel Lucky? Everybody knows about that. There's not a whole lot more I can say about it that ain't already been said. But like I said, when I think about Clint Eastwood, if somebody was to ask me any day of the week, who is your favorite go-to, character that Clint Eastwood's ever played, it's going to be Dirty Harry. And just like this character back here, I don't have many of them. I got the Rambo back there. I got the Clint Eastwood, and I'm not going to be one of these guys that has 100 of these things. There's only a couple I'm going to have, and it's going to be pretty much these 2 guys you see behind me. Any characters they may play, I may grab the figures, whatever. But when it comes to Clint Eastwood, to me,
it's good you've limited it to just those 2 because they only have like 80 acting credits apiece, so it's 160 balls total.
They've only got 3 dirty Clint Eastwood characters right now. The other one they got as Pale Rider, and I haven't decided if I'm grabbing that one yet or not. I do love that character as well, but like I said, I'm limited on space. But anyway, point being is the Dirty Harry is one of my favorites. That's the point I'm trying to make, Brad.
Yeah.
But this is one thing about this movie here. Just a little bit of trivia is the guy that plays the serial killer. Some of you horror fans out there is the same actor that plays the dad in the first Hellraiser movie. I actually did not realize that until I rewatched Dirty Harry. I think it was last year, and it was one of our top 5 streams me and Brad did with our top 5 favorite movies of all times. We did a while back. I realized that the guy that played Scorpio was the same guy that played in Hellraiser. This was like one of his first acting roles. And Clint Eastwood actually seen him in a play and kind of fought to get him to play this part, whatever, with the director. And so that's how he got his first kind of major role, whatever, was because of Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
But basically, the premise of the movie is that we already kind of talked about. I'll be quick here. It says when a madman calling himself the Scorpio Killer menaces the city, tough as nails San Francisco police investigator Dirty Harry Callahan is assigned to track down and catch the crazed psychopath. I already said most of the trivia here for the most part. The movie's most famous line is often misquoted. A lot of people mistakenly quote the line, "Do you feel lucky, punk?" While the actual line is, you've got to ask yourself one question: do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk? It's one of the most misquoted lines. All right, such was the success of this movie that Clint Eastwood and Don Siegel found themselves invited to address police gatherings. So they actually got to address like police get-togethers because this movie was so well known. Albert Popel, whatever, which plays the guy, whatever. He's the I can't remember the character's name in the movie, but basically he's an actor in the movie. He appears in every Dirty Harry movie, except for the Deadpool, playing a different character in each movie. His African American character in the makes friends with. And, he has a different role in every one of the Dirty Harrys, except for the last one. A police department this is interesting. I've talked about this one time before, but a police department in the Philippines ordered a print of this movie to show as a training video to their new recruits, which I thought was kind of crazy. Robert Mitchum turned down the lead role, calling this, quote, a film I would not do for any amount of money. Ironically, Mitchum's younger brother, John Mitchum, appears in the first three movies as Inspector Frank DeGiorgio. The movie helped popularize the Smith & Wesson Model 29. I know, Brad, you're a big gun guy. The movie helped popularize the Smith & Wesson Model 29 44 Magnum revolver, which experienced an upswing in sales following this movie's release.
I bet it
that's what I got on there for the trivia. Yeah, I imagine it did too. But great movie, great character. One-liners. I mean, if you love one-liners, if you love Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, this is kind of where all that came from. Clint Eastwood was the originator of these great one-liners. Nobody does them better, in my opinion. But that's my number 3. And again, guys, y'all need to play the music. I'll shut up.
Yeah, that villain was amazing too. I mean,
yeah, Andy Robson. Yeah, he actually received death threats after the film just because how believable he is. Like people were really convinced by him. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
plus the way he treated those kids on that bus.
Oh yeah,
crazy.
Pop them in the face.
Yeah. This is the first movie I can think of that has the classic trope of the badge being thrown in the water at the end of the movie. But I love when when finally Harry catches up to Scorpio and shoots him for like 100 yards away with a pistol and just wings him. I just love that under the lights and all that. It's just it's almost like a Michael Mann type, shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, when he's just standing on that bridge. Yeah, I love that.
No, when he's just standing over
Yeah, just standing and the bus is coming in and he's like, oh, here we go. Love that. Yeah, it's a great one.
All right. Yeah, man. I love it, man. I love it.
I do.
It's got to put up a new John Wayne calendar for next stream.
Yeah, that's in the other room. I do have a 2023 John Wayne calendar. It's in the other room.
Yeah, well, that's awesome.
That's for the next stream.
All right. Chris says the only Clint movie I have is The Good, Bad, and the Ugly. But more to get.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean,
definitely. This stream should influence you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All right. Trini says, Jase, no slip on the unforgiven, man. What's up?
I know. Need that hookup.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chris says Gene Hackman makes a great villain in westerns, aka The Quick and the Dead. Oh man, you guys have never seen that Quick and the Dead on 4K? That's one of my favorite releases. I love that 4K.
That's a decent western.
It's a terrible western, but it's awesome.
Oh, it's great western.
That western has every trope you can possibly think of. Just out of nowhere, a guy escaped from prison shows up, just runs into town. I mean, it's so much fun.
The one shot from that movie that puts the next level for me is when somebody, I'm not going to spoil the movie, when somebody gets shot and they look down and see their shadow, and when they see their shadow, there's a hole in it. It's like, it's great. It's great. Yep. Yeah, great cast too, man. I mean, early role for Russell Crowe.
Gene Hackman. When the rain stops, I'm going to make an example.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Great performances.
Jase is a purist up there. he watches that and it's just like it gives him a headache because it's such a mess.
Yeah,
but
don't get me started on other Wests that are not
it's
me.
like
for hardcore Western fans, I can see it.
Yeah,
not ranking high in the Western category, but as far as rewatchable, enjoyable movie,
there's other movies that are called Westerns that are a lot worse. And,
yeah.
That's a whole different video. That's a rant video. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. All right, Dirk says, "Unforgiven shit." Yeah, Eastwood, Freeman, and Hackman made this movie immortal.
Yeah,
it's hard to find a better cast than that.
Oh yeah.
All right, Gus says, "I enjoyed In the Line of Fire." Yep.
Oh yeah, it's really good.
Huck's Pop Culture Cafe. What's going on, Huck? Hey guys, Clint Knight. Gus said, "Hey, the Huckster." Adrian James says, "There's a scene in Back to the Future Part 3 when Marty McFly comes back in '85. There's a sign with Eastwood Ravine on it."
But he's kind of
ain't in Part 3
character.
Don't he call himself Clint Eastwood?
Yeah.
Basically, yeah. He's wearing the poncho and all that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, Adrian James, what's up, Huck, man? Kal-El, what's going on, man? What's up, fellas? Nice panel here. Appreciate it. Joe Joker says, "I guess you think I'm kicking you, Bob."
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's great.
The Duck of Death.
I'll tell you what's going to happen. I'm going to get off the stream, and I'm going to put back in Unforgiven and watch it again for the 100th time. All right. Physical Mediac. Josie Wells, Paint the Town Red, Gran Torino, and Iger Sanction, if I had to pick 4.
That's different.
Yeah.
Great name, Physical Mediac.
The Duck of Death.
The Duck of Death.
Yeah.
I like when the reporter guy corrects it. No, it's the Duke. No, the Duck.
Oh, I say the Duck.
Yeah. Anthony says, "Tell him, Alan, we love playing with our doll. I mean, action figures. They're action figures, damn it."
Yeah.
Kal-El saying, "Hello, Physical Mediac. The moments I remember the best from Clint Eastwood movies is when he keeps spitting on the dog's head in Josie Wells, and when he wraps the town whore in High Plains Drifter. Rapes."
Right.
Yeah. The we may talk about this again later, but Outlaw Josie Wells, when he spits tobacco on everything. Yeah. It's
Yeah, I got a few lines for that. Yep. What up?
All right. We're still saying hey to everybody still. All right. You guys really maximize the stream. So cool bringing all people from all 4 channels together. Yeah, man. It's fun to multi-stream. It kind of helps everybody out, get more people in the chat and stuff like that. And, it's always a good thing. Our Hollow Note says, "Quick of the Dead sounds like my kind of movie. What a cast. Jigsaw plus Keith David, too." Yeah, man. It's, like I said, it's not going to be, when you're looking at the classic Westerns, it ain't going to hold up with the classic Westerns of being one of the greatest of all times, but it's a fun, rewatchable movie for me. Just because it's silly.
Put an ace up. Yeah. Everybody know what that means. They bring a Swedish champion comes over to compete in this tournament. It's just a strange.
you got the Native American who says can't be killed by no bullet.
Spotted horse.
They shoot him like 12 times.
Spotted horse cannot be killed by bullet. It's crazy.
It's ridiculous. But
Gene Hackman is awesome in it though. He's just great in it. He's loving it. The whole rant where he's going on about, I'm confused. Where's all this money coming from? Because you people clearly haven't got the message. This is my town. Just dressing the whole town in front of everybody, and I don't know. It's ridiculous, but it's a lot of fun.
All right, guys, where are we at? With our number? Are we
already at
number 2?
Jeez,
man, we're moving right along.
It's getting big. It's getting tough.
Yeah, we're getting the good ones, man.
Yeah, well, number 2, this was tough again I don't know, I could have had this one even higher, but I've loved this movie right from when I was a boy as well. I grew up with it, one of the first Westerns I ever watched. That is Clint Eastwood in Power Rider. 1985, he also directed this, of course, and I don't know what it is about this one. Again, kind of very similar to High Plains Drifter in a way. It has this supernatural feel. Clint Eastwood plays this preacher, but is he a ghost? Is he real? Basically, he comes in to help these miners, headed by, I think it's Michael Moriarty and his daughter and soon-to-be wife and these other town miners, because they're being overrun by this corporate mining boss, LaHood. And so he's just there to help them out and try and put them all together and keep the faith, as he keeps saying in the movie. And just something about it. I don't know what I can say more about it. It's just one of those movies I've watched many times, and it just never gets old. And I love the scene, because eventually what happens is the mining boss, LaHood, hires these like gunfighters to finally move these miners on. And I just love how they come in, and there's a sort of a background between the main villain and Eastwood, and they sort of had a past together, and he may have killed him in the past. So it's sort of that supernatural Western in a way that Eastwood does in his movies. And I just love the character. And I did notice that Pops, one of those figurines had the Power Rider. That's the one that I may have to get if I am going to get one of them, because I just love this movie. Watched it a couple of times a year, and it's just, I don't know, a lot of people don't rate this one as much as I do, but just something about it. And that even the ending, when he goes sort of rides back into the mountains, not really a spoiler, but very haunting in a way. So that's my number 2, Power Rider. I love it.
Solid.
I'm glad you picked that one, man. That's a great movie.
It's a good one. And again, normal great lines as always. You got Richard Kell from the Bond movies, Jaws. He plays a side character. Christopher Penn as well as the young guy. It's just got a great cast, and just a hidden gem, because in the 80s there wasn't a lot of westerns. That the western genre was kind of dying through that era. So that's one of the few of the 80s that I really enjoyed, and I think it's definitely an underrated Clint Eastwood movie.
Yeah, when he's he beats the crap out of those guys with that stick, or whatever, and he's like, nothing like a good piece of pine.
I love that.
It's so great, man.
Yep.
All right, Tony, what you got for your number 2, buddy?
So my number 2 is High Plains Drifter. I actually just watched this for the very first time yesterday. So it's fresh on my mind. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I've been watching Clint Eastwood films for the past week or so in anticipation for this live stream. So I really wanted to try watching some that I hadn't seen before. And with this making it my number 2 pick, tells you how much I really enjoyed it. But this is from 1973. Clint Eastwood directed this one. I did get to watch the special features. There wasn't very much as far as special features on this, but it did show Clint Eastwood and him directing and how much of an effort he put into this film. I thought it was really good, especially directing himself. But this film stars Eastwood as a mysterious stranger who meets out justice in a corrupt frontier mining town. The film was influenced by the work of Eastwood's 2 major collaborators, Sergio Leone and Don Siegel. Now, as far as this film's concerned, like I think someone had already talked about this a little bit, you don't really know exactly who his character is. You know, is it a relative? Is it, you know, the flashbacks are not the best. When you look at the flashbacks, you can't really tell, but it does favor Eastwood, some sort, like a brother or something. But he makes the town people think that he's there to help them. And what he's done is he's pretty much kind of set them up in a way to where, you know, all these town people were kind of involved in what happened to this, the original sheriff or marshal or whoever that was at the beginning. So he's kind of there as a revenge to let them get what's coming to them for what they did in that town. And to me, I loved watching that. I love revenge movies. I thought this trailer was very well done. And to me, that's why it made my number 2.
Yeah.
That's killer.
Yes. It has that different feel to it, because I remember when sort of towards the end, when the dwarf of the town is writing the tombstone, and Clint Eastwood says, "You know who I am," and it has the name. So it has that mixed feel, whether it was that the sheriff or it's an avenging angel or his brother or something. Right. I like that sort of mysterious feel to it. I love that. That's what I like about it.
They all deserved what they got.
Yeah, they do.
All right, Tony, take it easy. Jeez. The human being.
Calm down, Tony.
That was great. Great pick.
My number 2, I don't have a copy because I'm faking it, apparently. No. 4K, I heard rumors about it. when that happens, I get rid of the Blu-ray, and I'm waiting for the 4K. Hasn't happened yet, but my number 2 is 2004's $1 Million Baby.
Wow.
Directed by Clint Eastwood, written by Paul Haggis. He's a pretty decorated in Hollywood. He wrote some Bond movies, Crash, In the Valley of Eli, which is an underrated movie. But the movie follows Frank, Clint Eastwood, the grizzled, burned out. Where have we heard this before? Boxing trainer and gym owner who's taken several fighters right up to the big money fights, championship fights, and lost them to new management. This happens at the very beginning of the movie with a very promising heavyweight, same exact situation. You discover as the story goes on through a former protege and gym employee named Scrap, who was a former title challenger with 109 bouts, played by Morgan Freeman, who was managed by Frank, Clint Eastwood, and now almost takes care of him in a sense. He's almost blind, homeless. Basically, he's the heart and soul of the movie, though. Together, they train Maggie, played by Hilary Swank. She's a 30-something white trash hillbilly waiter, wannabe boxer. 30 in combat sports. That's like 70. I mean, that's 30 is old, especially for boxing, because you got to think these boxers, they start when they're 4, 5, 6 years old, and now you're 30. That's a lot of miles. But she has no experience whatsoever. So but whatever. She's 30. Her age is bad enough, but she seems to have no athletic ability. Anyway, Eastwood tells her all this time at length not to come back. You're wasting your time. You're not any good. I'm not gonna take you on. I'm not your boss. But of course she keeps coming back, and he becomes her trainer. It's a Rocky type story, right down to the trainer not wanting to take her on, just like Mickey didn't want to take Rocky on. It's a bootstrap, inspirational type movie. I won't talk about the third act because there's heavy spoilers in it. You don't want this thing spoiled for you. I mean, you want to go into it blind if you haven't seen it.
Great movie.
Just watch
Very
it.
emotional. Very,
very strong drama. Throughout the story, you really learn about the characters at the gym through Morgan Freeman's eye. And he's my favorite character in it. He's so understated. I love the choices that he made of this old, very whimsical boxer. But the thing is about a great boxer, Kelly Pavlik can't teach you to be Kelly Pavlik. He's the tool. He's not the guy who built the tool. So it's hard, you know what I mean? They don't always make good trainers, and he's an example of that. He kind of cleans up the gym, holds pads here and there, but he's not the trainer. The mind is Clint Eastwood. But I just thought that was interesting. But I love that character. I think he's the standout in this. He's so believable with the choices he made. And I love my favorite scene in it is when the Danger character. If anybody's seen the movie, they know who Danger is. It's an ironic nickname. Let's just put it that way. The guy looks like olive oil, and he gets abused by the gym bully. And the 60-something-year-old Morgan Freeman, who has not fought in decades, puts on one glove and gets in the ring with this guy to teach him a lesson and knocks his ass out. And when the guy gets knocked out on the ground, I mentioned earlier he has 109 fights. Morgan Freeman says to himself, 110. It just the fire to the end, absolutely keeps his record, intact. Anyway, the ensemble cast, the writing of the characters, what makes it so memorable. Yeah, it's an extremely well done drama. This is the kind of movie that brings grown men to tears. And Clint Eastwood, I like I said, I used to say Gran Torino should have been his last movie. I feel like if he left right at the end of this, the way the movie ends and everything, it would have been, an epic conclusion to a stellar career, written and directed by him, and the crowning achievement on his long storied career. But yeah, $1 Million Baby, that's my number 2.
Man,
it's good.
I rewatched Rusted again this past year, man, late 2022, and it's a powerful ass movie. It's good.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I watched it recently myself. It's good.
What a crappy family this girl had, man. I mean, her whole family was just all crap.
Yeah,
horrible.
An absolute definition of white trash.
Yeah, she played that role really well. She was
Hilary
perfect.
Swank got an Oscar for it, deserved it. She acted her ass off. She's great. Everybody's great in it. All the little characters around the gym, and like I said, Morgan Freeman's character is telling the story. He's the narrator, and you don't find out anything from Clint. You see why he only takes fighters so far, because he took Morgan Freeman to the title. And Morgan Freeman ended up losing an eye over it and getting pummeled for 15 rounds. And it shook him to his core, and he didn't want to do it anymore. And then, of course, what happens at the end, he finally does take to a title. And I won't spoil it, but it's all very traumatic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to say the Morgan Freeman stream, man. But Morgan Freeman, I want this guy to give my eulogy. I want him to leave my voicemail messages. I want him to be my uncle. He's like seems like the guy that she's wanted to be around. He just seems like a cool guy. I love Morgan Freeman. He's great. His roles are so great, man.
Oh yeah.
All right, great pick, man. All right, my number 2 is going to be from this set here. This is the 74 1980, and I got this poster sitting right over here beside me, and this is going to be The Outlaw Jose Wells. This is, I don't know. I had to think about it. It's probably my favorite Western of all times.
Wow, that's good.
It is. It's a great movie, man. This movie here. There's one part about the movie that I don't like, whatever. And I'll talk about that in just a minute. But movie came out in 1978. It stars Clint Eastwood. I'll try to keep this PG, whatever. I'm not going to say what I put here, but in my notes, whatever. But it stars Sandra Locke, and everybody knows that I'm not a fan of Sandra Locke. Sandra Locke is the worst thing that ever happened to Hollywood. Rest in peace. Rest in peace. But I don't like Sandra Locke. She brings down every movie she's in. But Clint Eastwood, for some reason, liked her. They starred in 6 movies together. I'm sorry. They starred Any Which Way You Can, Bronco Billy, Every Which Way But Loose, The Gauntlet, The Outlaw Jose Wells, and Sudden Impact. And this was the first one that they starred together in. I'm going to leave that alone because I could talk about that for 30 minutes. But basically, this is based on Missouri farmer Jose Wells joins a Confederate guerrilla unit and winds up on the run from Union soldiers who murdered his family. And this is based on, it's according to legend, this movie was based on the life of Thomas Hawkins, a Missouri farmer from Marius County. So it's kind of based on a real guy. There was a book wrote on the movie as well. I guess based on the book. The movie received high praise among Native American viewers for its non-stereotypical portrayal of the Native Americans. One thing I found funny doing my research on this movie, it says, during shooting, Clint Eastwood got so frustrated with an uncooperative horse that he was working with that he punched the horse in the jaw. And I don't know, it just kind of seems like Clint Eastwood would be the kind of guy to do something like that. Reminds me of the guy from Blazing Saddles, the big guy that punches the horse. Yeah. I don't know. This is also the only PG-rated Western movie that Clint Eastwood's ever been in, which I didn't realize that, whatever. But, back in the day, PG was a different thing. PG in the 70s and 80s is a different thing than PG now. I mean, a PG from the 70s is going to be an R-rated movie now. But, it's a great movie. And y'all just humor me here for a minute, because the reason why I love this movie so much is because of the quotes. I got just a few quotes here. I'm going to just do my favorites. I got about 10 here. But this movie's very, very, it's got great quotes in it. All right, the bounty hunter walks into the bar and says, a man's got to do something for a living. And then, of course, Jose Wells says, well, dying ain't much of a living, boy. Great scene. The bounty hunter that comes in, man, he has the bounty hunter that walks in. Jase, you probably know what I'm talking about here. He has a Hollywood face. When that bounty hunter walks in, his face is just as iconic as the back and forth with Clint Eastwood. I love that bounty hunter in this role. Yeah. Don't know who the hell he is, but he's great in this role.
I love that dialogue scene. I was about to quote it if you didn't, so go ahead.
Yeah, and somebody says Kansas was all golden and smelled like sunshine. Jose Wells says, yeah, well, I always heard there were 3 kinds of suns in Kansas: sunshine, sunflowers, and sons of bitches. It's just a classic Clint Eastwood line. Whenever I get to liking someone, they ain't around long. And then his buddy says, I noticed when you get to disliking someone, they ain't around very long either. I wish we had time to bury them fellas. This is my favorite line in the movie. I wish I had time to bury them fellas. To hell with them fellas. Buzzards got to eat the same as worms. Greatest line in the movie. And, of course, he spits tobacco on the dog's head, on the dead man's head. You know, the guy that's hawking the Wonder tonic, whatever, on the boat, he spits on his jacket. How about Stains? You know, it's just a great movie, man. I rewatched it about 2 months ago. Seen it at least 30 times in my life, and it holds up just as much now as it did when I was 10. You know, absolutely love this movie. Grew up with it. Probably seen it 10 times with my dad growing up on TBS, like we were talking earlier. It's just iconic as hell. It very easily could have been my number one, but it's going to be here at number 2 for me. And I'm gonna leave the rest of my notes off because I got a bunch. I got scrolls of notes I made on this.
One of the great lines is that you're gonna pull those pistols or whistle Dixie.
yeah, man.
Yeah, it's a great one. I love that one.
Yeah, and when he rides off and meets with the chief, whatever, you know, the guys that are coming to get him, he goes and talks to him. You know, that back and forth between him and the chief, whatever. It's fantastic.
Oh yeah, Chief Dan George. I think it's the same guy from Will Sampson from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Yeah, great actor.
Yeah. So, if you guys have never seen, anybody in the chat hadn't seen Outlaw Josie Wells, man,
Yeah,
I got it
just behind me somewhere.
Yeah, me too. I like that digibook.
Yeah,
I got 16 posters to my room here. If you guys ever see my room tour, right here is my Josie Wells poster, and that is the one poster that will never leave my room. That poster will stay there as long as I'm living. So I love Josie Wells, man. It's just an iconic character for me. All right, let's catch up with the chat here, y'all. All right, well, I think we already seen that one.
Yeah,
where are we at here? I don't know if you read that one or not. Watched Unforgiven all the way through. First time, so much better than Tombstone.
Oh man, better than Tombstone. That's strong.
I think Tombstone's getting a 4K this year, man. That's another Western I absolutely love, man.
What
do you think about Tombstone, Jase? You a fan of that?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of it, dude. It's probably one of the better modern movies in the westerns in the '90s. I think it's one of the great stories of Wyatt Earp because there's been many movies. I mean, Kevin Costner did Wyatt Earp at the same time. Tombstone's a lot better than that one.
Yeah. But that movie's great, but I think it kind of got overshadowed by Tombstone when it come out, man. But that movie's underrated. It's a good watch.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. It's good because there's many movies, even like some Criterions, like My Darling Clementine. There's been a lot of westerns that have done the Wyatt Earp sort of Doc Holliday story, but I think Tombstone is definitely one of the better ones. I think it's a great, Val Kilmer in that movie is brilliant. Mm-hmm. Everyone's good in that movie. Sam Elliott, Bill Powers Booth.
Powers Booth, man. Yeah.
Michael Biehn is Johnny Ringo.
Michael Bihn's crazy good and on fire.
Really good. Really great cast. 4K needed.
Yeah, that one scene around the campfire, and he's like, why are you here? You know, like he says, the guy says, I got a lot of friends. He said, Wyatt Earp's my friend. He said, I got a lot of friends. He said, I don't. And that's the one that gets me every time.
Movies about their friendship. That's what it's about.
I'm no Huckleberry.
Yeah. Yeah, man, and that scene when he's laying in his deathbed, you know, and he says, you ever cared at all about me? Oh, man, it gets me every time.
It's
Val
Kilmer's best movie, I'm telling you.
Yeah. Chris says, you're not faster than me. Today I am. Damn, I want to talk about Tombstone some more. Damn, you're not wearing a bustle.
Yeah.
All right.
It's
Chris, the Pill Rider.
George Cosmatos, is a really good director, but apparently he was only on there a few days before he quit and Kurt Russell took over as director. And there's a rule at the time, I can't remember, Kurt Russell was not allowed to direct. It was in his contract, something along those lines, and he directed it, and that's why he's not credited as a director, even though he did direct, apparently.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, George Cosmatos was really hard to deal with, apparently, and he just stormed off and never came back. Kind of thing. At least that's the way I heard it.
Chris says the Pale Rider, a.k.a. Death Rides the White Horse. Yep. Speaking of Tombstone, the White Horse thing comes up in Tombstone as well.
Yep.
All right. Dirk says Pale Rider always mixes it up with High Plains Drifter.
Yep.
Chris says that's right. In High Plains Drifter, he has the whip as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That scene at the end is great. All dark. It's great.
Yeah. All right. BW Tangible Moments. Joe Kidd or Where the Eagles Dare. Yeah, I just watched Where the Eagles Dare for the first time, probably the beginning of 2021. It's the first time I'd ever seen that one. And
I like that one.
It was a good time.
Yeah, Richard Burton. That's like a war sort of spy film. Yeah, it's an earlier Eastwood film. It's good. I like that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe Kidd is
All right,
kind of in
Randall
the middle for me.
Wild says, keep talking, Pops. Don't tell me that. BW says, these are all common picks.
Yeah,
man, but there's
top 5.
There's a reason for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Hollow Knight says, lock her up and throw away the key. Yeah, I'm gonna have a Sandra Luck stream. We have a top 5 Sandra Luck movies. We'll do that.
Yeah.
All right, Sculptor 22. Tell us how you really feel, Pops. No, I'm not gonna do that. I'll take up too much time. Dirk says, Outlaw J.Z. Wells. Shit, yeah, it's different, especially if you're from the South. Yep. Which me and Dirk both are, and Tony. All right, Marlo Prescott. Did you guys ever see that George Lopez interview where Ray Liotta said Clint Eastwood was an overrated actor? I did not.
Wow.
No,
I did not. But I love Ray Liotta, and I don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
No.
That's wrong. That ain't right.
No, that ain't right. That bothers me on all different kind of levels. Sculptor says Tombstone is great. Sadly, don't think extended cut will be on 4K. Keeping my expectations low. Got to keep the Vista Series DVD.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't have any physical media releases of Tombstone right now, so I need that. I need a 4K release.
Yeah, I just got the blue.
That's why I hold on to all these older releases, because the older releases are jam packed full of bonus stuff.
Yeah,
or extended editions and stuff.
Yeah,
and just like Brad was saying, he got rid of $1 Million Baby because of the 4K rumors. I don't get rid of anything until I have it in my hand.
It may not happen.
See what the features are. Yeah. I had Tombstone on Blu-ray. It may be in my other closet in there. I may still have it. I don't know, but I have to go check it. I know I had it at one time. Yeah. I give a lot of my older movies to my kids and stuff like that, and they borrow stuff. So I think I got it in there. Maybe I do. I know I owned it at one time. All right, guys, we are here. Our number 1. So Jase, you're the first one to have to let us know what you got.
It's going quick. Well, I first have to apologize because I've kind of cheated here a little bit, but there's a reason. You'll see. I can't really separate these two movies. I think you know what's coming. Well, it's 3, but there's 2. There's 2 in particular. It is The Man with No Name, For a Few Dollars More, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And I tried to separate. I was thinking, I'll do the 5, but I just love these movies, man. Like, I'm a huge fan of spaghetti westerns. Sergio Leone directed, of course, and this is basically what brought Clint Eastwood on the map and into the western genre. The Man with No Name, just such a. I mean, he has a name in each movie, but just it's so iconic. It's starting with for a few dollars more. I just love the chemistry between him and Lee Van Cleef, the 2 bounty hunters going after the villain, El Indio, and just the chemistry they have. And the soundtrack in both movies, Ennio Morricone, is brilliant. And I just love the sort of grittiness and violence of these spaghetti westerns. They're very realistic, and just even the other characters, they got beards, they're dirty. It's quite realistic. Some of the American westerns are more like Hollywood style, but these are very, very real, and that's what I like about it. And just coming on then to Good, Bad, and the Ugly, very similar. Lee Van Cleef, Eli Wallach, 3 men going after gold within the Civil War, and they all have this information, a little bit of information, and they're sort of trading of each other and sort of betraying each other along the way until they end up in this cemetery where the gold is, and then the iconic cinematic duo, which is probably one of the best cinematic scenes in cinema, that scene at the end. We all know that with the Ennio Morricone music over it. What can I say, man? These 2 westerns are perfect in my opinion. That's why I can't really separate it. I do enjoy the first one, Fistful of Dollars, but that's more of a vanilla. I think you just get a lot more in these 2, and that's why I can't separate it. I just love this character, The Man with No Name, and whether they all sync up or it's really a trilogy, you don't have to see him as a trilogy. There can be separate movies, even though he basically has the same look and the same kind of character. So I just think these are brilliant movies. I can't say much more. They're great westerns, and if you haven't seen them, I don't know where you've been, because these are cinematic masterpieces, man. So I had to cheat, sorry, but for a few dollars more in The Good, Bad, and the Ugly, my number 1 Clint Eastwood films.
What does El Indio translate to? in English?
I have no idea, actually.
What the hell? I thought you were a fan. The Indian.
There you go. But they're just brilliant movies, man. And like I just said before, I've watched those movies at least a couple of times a year, and now getting them on the 4K, they look amazing. Great on the TV. Get your sound bar, put that music on, and you can't go wrong. So
is almost as important as the directing. The score is so important, especially the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Exactly.
Gold, you hear gold, it brings it out of you.
Just that. I mean, if you can't, I don't know if you watch that scene towards the end where they have that duel, if you can't have some kind of emotion while it's going on, it's flashing to the eyes and then to their guns, you don't really like movies, because I just think it brings an energy and a passion to yourself. This is so epic. I don't think I've seen anything as epic as that scene in cinema, to be honest, over the years. I mean, there's great movies that we've all watched, but that is very, cinematic. It's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I rewatched Good, Bad, the Ugly earlier today, whatever, and here in my movie room, turning that volume up, and when that first scene starts, the Good, Bad, and the Ugly, and you get the red introduction, and that music, and I like the way it cuts to each different character to introduce them, and it kind of pauses, whatever, and the ugly, the bad, the good. It's just, it's great, man.
It's less an epic and more of or it's less a Western and more of an epic. It's such a huge,
it's like a cinematic epic, and I love how Lee Van Cleef, obviously I said in the For a Few Dollars More, he plays his equal as a bounty hunter, and then in The Good, Bad, and the Ugly, he's the bad, and he really is bad. Some of the scenes where he gets Eli Wallach, the guy's beating him up, and they're playing music in the background, and he's trying to get information out of him. That's a great scene, and just the all Eli Wallach's great in that movie as well. But just I don't know. I think if you're getting into the Western genre, and you just have that iconic Eastwood image of him with the cigar and the poncho and the hat, I just think that's an image right there. So that's all I got to say about that.
What's interesting to me is that Clint Eastwood said, and something that I read, that the outfit that he wears in those movies, they didn't have much of a budget. That was the only outfit they had that. So he had to take it back to the hotel room.
The only one. Only had one poncho, one jeans hat. So we had to hide it away each night just in case it went missing, because they only had one poncho.
And those little cigars he smoked, whatever, he said he found in a shop in Beverly Hills. And he bought a bunch of those because he thought they would look cool in the movie. So it's just funny that these kind of movies that gritty, like you're talking about, those cigars came from Beverly Hills and some little shop he found, which I thought was kind of funny.
Yeah.
Yes, and my question is, the opening scene with Lee Van Cleef when he goes to the guy's house, whatever, with his sons and his wife. Yeah. What the hell are they eating? What's in that bowl of food they're eating? I said, what is that? Is that potatoes? What is that?
Like a soup combined with potatoes.
It looked nasty as hell, whatever it was.
Onion, maybe it's onion. It's some kind of stew.
It's just incredible.
Lee Van Cleef also likes to eat in the movies. If you ever notice, he's always eating also. Him and Clint Eastwood, they're perfect for
without those movies, you just wonder where Eastwood's career would have gone, because he took a risk. He did Rawhide, and after Rawhide, he went to Italy, of course, and did all that. And he didn't really think much of them. You think, this is just going to be, a holiday. I'll do these movies. But as soon as he got back to America and they were playing, he didn't realize how popular, and that's basically what made him the iconic
or
actor.
How good they would turn out. When you make that movie, you don't even know if it's going to be good.
What was funny, he didn't realize they changed the name. Obviously, with the Italian translation, the name was slightly different when he came back to America. So he thought, hey, hang on, is that my movie? And then he realized it was, and how popular it was. So without those films, he probably wouldn't be the iconic actor and obviously Western actor that we all love.
Yeah, man, great pick, man. Like I said, we're going to let it pass because I understand what you're saying. It's hard to separate those.
Yeah, so, I tried for all morning. I love them both, man. Like I said, I don't want to knock out A Fistful of Dollars because that's a great film too. Just those two for me, I can't see anything better to me. That's just, I love it. I could watch those two back to back like a long movie.
Yeah, it would be a long one.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah,
it would be
6 hours.
130 130 minutes for most of those.
Yeah, so it's about over 5 hours.
Yeah.
Go ahead, man.
So my number one, like we have all been saying, there's a lot of good Eastwood films, so it was kind of hard, but I had to go with Unforgiven for my number one pick. And I know we've already talked about this film a little bit, but it was a 1992 American Western film starring, directed, and produced by Clint Eastwood. The film tells the story of William Money, an agent outlaw and a killer who takes on one more job years after he had turned to farming. The film co-stars Gene Hackman, Morgan Freeman, and Richard Harris. It grossed over $159 million on a budget of $14.4 million and received widespread critical acclaim. To me, it was a great story. I loved it because when I first watched it, I always picture Clint Eastwood being the good guy. And in this one, it was a big turn of events to me. I didn't realize when I was watching it that he was a bad guy.
Yeah.
But doing good, he was there to help. But the best, it won 4 Academy Awards: Best Picture, Best Director for Clint Eastwood, Best Supporting Actor for Gene Hackman, and Best Film Editing for editor Joel Cox. Eastwood was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Actor for his performance, but he lost to Al Pacino for Sin of a Woman. Have we seen Sin of a Woman? Yes. To me,
yeah.
The film was the third Western to win Best Picture, following Dances with Wolves in 1990. Eastwood dedicated this film to directors and mentors Sergio Leone and Don Siegel, which I thought was great.
Yeah,
awesome. Just a really good Western, something different. And like Alan was saying, I really enjoyed Morgan Freeman in this film.
Yeah.
Anything that Morgan Freeman does is great.
Yeah.
But that's my number one pick.
It's a good one.
Great pick. And it's really see that being number one for a lot of people. I mean, it's timeless. And like I said, another one that's less a Western and it's more this overreaching story of a redemption, and just you could see he doesn't say much, but he says it all, like just from his expressions and stuff like that. It's
his actions more than words. Yeah.
And pretty much his life was, if you think about it, at the beginning, his life was pretty much over with anyways.
Yeah.
All the good in his life was over
happened already.
So this is almost like I say a suicide mission. But he was going to take care of this, and he didn't care what happened, but he did need the money. He was desperate.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, man. It's great movie. It's we'll talk to you in a minute.
Yeah.
Well, my number one, I'm gonna show you how it's done, Jase. I picked one. 1965, written and directed by Sergio Leone for a few dollars more.
Nice.
Maybe it's controversial. I don't know. Everybody would say the other one is better. I think this is the better movie all around. Much darker. It's more a Western, sure, than I think The Good, Bad, and the Ugly is. Of course, it's a Western, but like I said, I think that's more of an epic. This is more almost as a crime Western, which I really love. I love crime movies. So the movie follows Clint Eastwood and Lee Van Cleef, who play bounty hunters, who are both tracking the same man, Indio, played by John Volante, an Italian actor, I believe. And his gang of bandits, which includes a hunchback played by Klaus Kinski, who's awesome in this. Huge story, gigantic, sprawling, epic production, insane score, Morricone, of course. Quintessential, Western and crime film, I feel. Eastwood is purely in it for the money. It's revealed that with Mortimer, it's a lot more than the money that he's after. The relationship between Eastwood and Van Cleef is so good in this. The banter back and forth between them, constantly having these little pissing matches with each other, shooting each other's hats off, and Mortimer, I feel, is actually the badder of the two. I think he's he surpasses even Eastwood.
He's kind of older.
He's older. He's
more
got
mature.
Money.
He's kind of, and I mean, without interrupting, sorry, Clint Eastwood and Lee Van Cleef are kind of going after the villain for different reasons. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. It's different motivations in a way.
Absolutely. Anyway, yeah, like I said, it's a Western tour, but it's also a crime movie. There's a big heist that takes place in the middle of the movie. The bounty hunters pose as bandits to infiltrate the gang, and it's a large gang. There's a lot of guys, and they're all worth a lot of money. They're all like Jase pointed out, they're all horrible villains. They're filthy. They're all ruthless killers, and they realize that they're worth it's a fortune in bodies if they kill them all, and they need each other. It's essentially what it is. But I love the execution of all the crime elements. The bandits as well are drawn extremely well, especially Indio, whose character has a lot of style and a real depth to him. The chime locket. I love how nonchalant and remorseless he is about everything. And at the same time, you can tell he's utterly unhinged. He's trying to contain his keep his sanity in check because he's totally a wild man. But the standout in all of this is Lee Van Cleef for me as Mortimer. He's such a badass in this. I love all his little contraptions, his little custom gun apparatuses. The scenes between Mortimer and the Hunchback are my favorite scenes. The Hunchback, played by Klaus Kinski, early role for him. Well, not an early role, but I guess you could say it's early role, 65. Klaus Kinski as the Hunchback is referenced throughout the movie as being insanely dangerous. Kind of guy you don't even want to look at. He's killed people just for looking at him. I mean, he's just, everybody keeps saying, stay away from him, don't look at him, don't be around him, don't talk around him. He's that bad. Mortimer walks right up to him in a saloon in front of a crowd of people and lights a match off the hump on his back. And I just love that. And the look that the Hunchback gives him, just the pure, insane rage. He's just ready to kill him, but they hold him back because they're about to rob the bank. So he can't kill him there. And then, of course, later they run into each other again after the robbery. Now the Hunchback is ready to fight, offers him a smoke, walks right up to Mortimer and says, hey, it's the smoker, and offers him a smoke and then turns his back to him. So, you want to light up again? Mortimer doesn't even stop eating, doesn't stop chewing, shoving the food in his face. He says, generally, I don't smoke till after I eat. Come back then, and not intimidated at all. And, of course, the Hunchback says, you'll be smoking in hell. And they obviously go at it, and, Van Cleef comes out on top and ends up working for him. But it makes it so memorable, man. Of course, the score, everything about it. To me, this is his all-time best movie, and it's the one I watched the most. And really happy to have this 4K. It's a really good scan and everything. But I know that everybody loves Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and for good reason. But I find this one to be more rewatchable, and that's what it's all about for me. So that's my number one.
Yeah, man.
That's a good.
Yeah, and we need to give it up. We need to give it up to Kino Lorber for all these great Eastwood films.
Oh man,
I'm glad.
A lot of
keep them coming.
Yeah, Play Misty for me. All those good ones.
Very affordable price. I think I got that for $17.99. And you could probably get it on sale for $14.99 if you waited.
Yeah, and like I was saying earlier about that on the Bounty Hunter and Josie Wells, he has a Hollywood face, whatever. Then nobody has a better Hollywood face than Lee Van Cleef. Yeah, Lee Van Cleef in those movies, he just looks like somebody you just don't want to mess with.
The eyes, yeah. He's like a predator, he's almost like a snake.
Remember the very beginning where the first bounty, he has that sort of guy with the long teeth, and he, as you said before, he constructs that gun, and they have that sort of duel at the very beginning. That was awesome. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
love that part. But that's a very good movie, and I'm with you. Like, if I had to separate, like, with the two, if I did a Western list, I'm probably with you as far as for a few dollars more, I might just jump over. But it's hard when it's Eastwood, Yeah, I know a lot of people love Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
I would say the better Eastwood role is definitely Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Yeah.
He's got his characters more likable, and he's in between both those characters. And this, in Mortimer, is so good. It almost draws the lens away from it. His character's got so much more depth to it, Mortimer.
Same with El Indio.
Dueling chimes, that reveal.
I love that.
Yeah.
So that release, do you have it in a baggie or do you have plastic wrapped around it?
Well, I'll tell you how the pros do it, Tony. You take notes here. I got it in a bag.
Uh-huh.
And then it's wrapped, right?
Okay.
I just cut a little square out of the bottom, and then I leave the cellophane on the rest of it.
Okay.
That's how you do it, Tony. Just like I said, who's new? He's new to the PM game. He's not really. This is like his first,
Well, I almost
his background is just a fake background.
I've received packages from you before, and I just pictured it being wrapped in plastic wrap.
Yeah. And then
Yeah, Brad spends about $500 a year on tape.
Right.
When he mails you a package, it's going to be taped and secured. I promise you. There's no better packaging in physical media.
Talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly. Did everybody get the 4K release from Kino Lorber?
Yeah.
And how many of y'all got the slipcover with it?
Not me.
No, hold on now. I got the movie. I got Side Hustle Cinema to make me a slipcover.
Yeah.
You know how much I paid for that slipcover on eBay? Because I had to have it. Too much.
Yeah. The Side Hustle sent me a slipcover when he first started making slipcovers, and it was good. I mean, nothing against him. It was good. But he found out a better way to make slipcovers, and this slipcover here is legit. So that was
nice.
when he sent that for like a birthday present last year. That's legit. That's a good slipcover. That's how I got it. It's not official, but it makes me happy. Keeps my movie.
I've got the little slip box edition.
Oh yeah.
Also.
Yeah. I have that released in my closet over there.
Yeah, it's a great release. I love those bags.
You get these from Tony or Basement Blues. You watch his videos. You click the link below. That's how I got these bags at least. But you get 500. It'll last forever.
Right.
I've got about 4 copies of Good, Bad, and the Ugly. The Blu-ray Kino, then the 4K Kino, and then the Steelbook behind me. And it's too many.
Yeah. I need to see that Steelbook.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna do my number one here, and I figured that most people that know me probably know what this is gonna be, and of course it's gonna be Unforgiven.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, man. This not only one of my favorite Clint Eastwood movies, this is way up there one of my favorite movies of all times. Talk about rewatchability. It's got a freaking great cast, man. You got Clint Eastwood, Gene Hackman, Morgan Freeman, Richard Harris. I'm not going to try to step over all the stuff you guys already said because you guys have already kind of stole some of my thunder on some of y'all's great notes and takes on this already. But I'll try to be as fast as I can. I'm just going to start off with this. Okay, this is my favorite scene in the entire movie. Okay. I'm sure most people watching this stream has already seen this, but the scene that gets me more than anything else is when William Money is riding into the town. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen this movie. It came out in 1992. If you haven't seen it by now, guess what? I'm fixing to spoil it. Whenever Ned gets killed and William Money's riding into the town, he doesn't drink. He stopped drinking. His wife cured him of all that wickedness years ago. He's a different man. I ain't like that no more. He rides into the town, and you see the empty bottle of whiskey hit the ground as he's riding into the town on the horse. That right there is money for me right there. Shit's fixing to go down. It's coming. The whole movie, he's trying to be this nice guy. He's trying to be, I've changed, whatever. But that you're fixing to see Clint Eastwood break bad, so to speak. Unchanged. And I love it. I love that scene. Basically, you have retired Old West gunslinger William Money reluctantly takes on one last job with the help of his old partner Ned Logan and a young man called the Schofield Kid. The Schofield Kid, for what the role is, I think he does a good job. He's my least favorite character in the movie. But some of the stuff with Ned, with Morgan Freeman and him kind of going back and forth, a lot of that's enjoyable. But the Schofield Kid is definitely the weakest part of the movie for me. I mean, for what the role is, the guy does a good job. My favorite line from the movie, of course, is it's a hell of a thing killing a man. Take away all he's got and all he's ever gonna have. I've got a video on my channel that I did really early in my YouTube life, whatever. Go back and watch it. Not many people seen it. It was one of my earlier videos. It was one of my first reviews, whatever. When I got this steelbook in from Zavi, whatever. I did a review of this movie. And I got a lot of good clips to that, and I think it's a good video for being one of my earlier videos. So anyway, I got a good review of this movie. If you guys are interested in checking that out, shameless plug. But the movie's got a crap load of good quotes, whatever. He's all right. I'm coming out. Any man I see out there, I'm gonna shoot him. Any some bitch takes a shot at me, I'm gonna kill him. But I'm gonna kill his wife and all his friends and burn his damn house down. I mean, come on. I'm leaving the street. I'm hiding. I'm not messing with this guy. Little Bill says, well, sir, you are a cowardly son of a bitch. You just shot an unarmed man. William Money says, well, he should have armed himself if he's going to decorate his saloon with my friend. And it's just from the opening shot, him with his kids, struggling, broke farmer, trying to do right. So, this guy comes by, offers him a chance to make some money. He's trying to do right by his kids, going to try to get this one last paycheck, whatever, to try to make things better for him and his kids. Well, first off, let's stop there. This guy leaves his kids. His son couldn't have been 10. He leaves them on a farm by themselves in the middle of nowhere with some sick hogs. Yeah. There's no food to be spoken of. Y'all be okay. Go see Sally Two Trees, whatever, if you need something. I mean, I know this is a different time, but come on, man. Talk about some bad parenting.
Yeah, I think he was expecting them to be dead when he got back anyways.
Yeah.
Well, he was never going to make it back anyway, he probably thought. Yeah. But when he goes by and picks up Morgan Freeman, whenever Sally Two Trees, whatever, sees him, you can just tell he was a son of a bitch back in the day, because she looks at him like she wants to kill him, just looking at him, and getting past how much I love Clint Eastwood, Morgan Freeman in this. Gene Hackman in this is absolutely great. I mean, pretty much he eats up the screen when he's on screen. The whole thing Brad talked about earlier with English Bob, that whole scene is just gold. The movie's great. It's definitely my favorite Clint Eastwood movie. I was glad that he finally won, got all the accolades that he deserved for this movie. Mm-hmm. But one quote that Clint Eastwood said, so this movie laid to rest Clint Eastwood's long-standing statement why he would never win an Oscar. Eastwood, hold on, sorry, I ain't got my glasses, I'm half blind. Eastwood reckoned he would never be in the running because first, he's not Jewish. Secondly, I have too much money. Thirdly, and most importantly, because I don't give a fuck. That was his line about never winning an Oscar. He says, since this double Oscar win for this movie, Eastwood has gone on to win 2 more Oscars, and as well as an Irving Thalberg Memorial Award, and has been nominated an additional 6 times. This is the 3rd Western to win the Best Picture Oscar. The other 2 are Dances with Wolves from 1990 and Cimarron from 1931. Now, this I thought was really cool, and I think I've talked about this in one of our other streams, but it says the boots that Clint Eastwood wore are the same ones he wore in Rawhide 1959. These boots are now part of Eastwood's private collection. In 2005, they were loaned to Sergio Leone to a Sergio Leone exhibit at the Gene Autry Museum of Western Heritage in Los Angeles, California. The boots basically bookend Eastwood's career from Rawhide to Unforgiven. He wore the same boots in this he did in Rawhide. How cool is that?
Yeah.
Richard Harris, when he got the offer for this role, Richard Harris was watching High Plains Drifter on TV when Clint Eastwood called him and says, "Hey, do you want the part of English Bob?" Come on, man. That's every man's dream. You're watching the Clint Eastwood movie, and he calls you on the phone, "Hey, you want to be in my next movie?"
Great actor. Yeah. His long career.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Again, I got 30 quotes here I'm not going to bore everybody with. It's my favorite Clint Eastwood movie. I knew when I was doing this, okay, there's number 1. What's 2 through 5?
Yeah.
So, that's where I was on that. But yeah, guys, that's our top 5. We'll finish up the chat here, guys, and we did that pretty quick, man. Only 2 hours and 20 minutes. It's not bad.
If people watch Tony's videos, he speeds everything up. So anything he's involved in, it goes faster with Tony.
That's right. Exactly.
All right. Let's see what we got. Where did I leave off at? I think this was it. Wild Wrangler says, when M&M was a snack and Arnie said, "I'll be back," and the coolest thing was Commodore 64. I used to have me a Commodore 64 back in the day. Chris C says, I have the Vista Series Collector's Edition DVD as well of Tombstone, my all-time favorite Western.
Hard are you? It's a good one.
And Paul says, "Hey, Kyle, apologies I had to step out." Wild says, "My father still has the Tombstone VHS. I had Tombstone VHS at one time."
I think I still have it.
Our Dirk says, now Jase, you got to pick between those 2. There can only be one.
Gun to your head.
Yeah. So I'm dead, I think. I can't. So yeah, it's too hard.
All right, Scholar says, doing cinematography drinking game here. Jase just effed up.
Yeah.
All right, classic spaghetti Western.
Yeah.
All right, Dirk says, hell yeah, Tony, Unforgiven. Good number one pick. Spicy 4K action. So Unforgiven is great. Need to watch that again. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we all picked.
Wild Ranch says Lee Van Cleef, aka Angel Eyes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we all did pick
Unforgiven. Yeah, that was the only one that we all picked, right? Unforgiven. So, yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
All right, Mickey says you guys should have done a top 5 underrated Clint Eastwood movie stream. That's interesting.
There's
that's the stream I would like to see.
Don't give me any ideas.
Yeah.
That
gave me an idea. That's because there's a whole lot of Clint Eastwood movies that don't get talked about. That's a hell of an idea.
Exactly.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, Clint Eastwood Part 2, man. Yep.
Yeah, stay tuned for the underrated Clint Eastwood. I like the hell out of that.
Let's do 5 worst movies.
Well, there ain't 5 worst movies. There ain't 5 worst movies. We'll do the 5 underrated. I like that better.
Yeah.
I like that.
Sculptor 22 says next up, top 50 honorable mentions. No, we're not going to have an official honorable mentions. If somebody wants to throw something out there, y'all, of course, be welcome to.
Yeah. Well, we might have to save it. If we are going to do that second thing, we might have to save it.
Yeah, might have to save it, right? All right. Wild Rambler says great pick. Trini says Lee Van Cleef is a badass. Totally agree.
Yeah, he's a big Lee Van Cleef fan, Trini. He loves Lee Van Cleef.
Escape from New York, man. He still had it.
Yeah.
Trini says, so sad I didn't get that.
I know.
TGT.
Very sad.
Good, bad,
the ugly slip. Yeah, I'm with him there.
All right, Chris says the Good, Bad, and the Ugly that I have is old Blu-ray that I got at Big Lots for like $7 a year ago. I mean, what a find! Released by Warner, and you look back and it's a Fox Blu-ray.
Yeah,
and that has some good special features on it as well.
Oh yeah.
Dirk says, hell yeah, Brad, great number one. Good, Bad, and the Ugly. Chrissy says, great number one, Pops. I have not watched The Unforgiven since I was a youngin', and I watched it with my parents. I have to revisit it. Yeah, do that, man.
It's one that's aged really well, I think.
Dirk said, damn, Al, you just made me make Unforgiven my next watch. Great one.
Yeah,
man.
I think we're all going to be watching an Eastwood movie after this.
Yeah. All right. Wild Wrangler says, you will all be our superstars.
Cool.
Good picks all around. Dirk says, I'm surprised that McGill didn't come up. He's a grimy Yankee.
Yeah.
We got one grimy Yankee on this stream. We don't need two. No offense. Bless your heart.
I don't. You can't offend. A Southerner can't afford it.
Dude, I've tried to offend you. You can't be offended. I know. You're unoffendable. Chris says, great picks. You all make my love of cinema and movies greater. Appreciate it, Chris, man.
If you've gotten one thing from this stream, it's to see shit. What is the name of the stupid Western with Gene Hackman? The one with
Quick and the Dead.
The Quick and the Dead. If you've gotten one thing in the stream, watch The Quick and the Dead 4K. Because you will have a good time. It's ridiculous. It's impossible to turn that thing on and then turn it off. You have to see how it ends. Little girl shooting her own dad in the head. I mean, like it's nuts.
And I don't get to talk about this box set as much. What better time to do it now? I'm going to show it off one more time. If you guys ever get a chance to grab this, it is the favorite thing I have in my collection. This thing here weighs about 25 pounds. It is heavy as hell. I don't know if it's still in print or not, but this is a fantastic release. Everything he's ever directed or starred in, except for the last couple movies. It's got the mule in here, but everything after the mule.
Yeah, which is just the one. But yeah, that box set's really hard to find in good condition on eBay.
I was surprised, man. When I ordered this from Zavia, it came in the mail. It took a while for it to come in. I was expecting it to be banged up like crazy, man, but it came in really good shape.
I almost bought it from Zavia, and next time I went to go buy it, it was sold out.
Yeah, but it's still my favorite thing I have in my collection by a long stretch. But guys, y'all got anything y'all want to talk about before we get out right here? I mean, anything coming up? Anything you guys
that was fun. I really enjoyed it, man. I'm glad we finally did it. Glad we Pops. I got to see your Eastwood and Tony and Brad, and I had a great time, man. I think sharing the love for Clint Eastwood, one of the iconic actors of all time. So it was great fun. Hope to be part of this again.
Yeah, great actor.
Yeah, man.
Maybe even a better director, but a real man. That's what I always liked about him. But make sure you check out Jase's top 20 video he did.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
It was well done, well made, nice intro.
Yeah,
I'll check that out, man. I ain't seen that
that
yet.
was a hard list. Top 10, top 20 favorite movies of all time. So, yeah, again, it's always hard doing any of those type of lists because there's just so many names. But
It really is.
Yeah,
it really is.
But fun times, and I love doing list videos and love doing these list type of topical streams. It's a lot of fun, and we all basically had something different, so that was good.
Yeah.
And Jason, we decided to do a top 5 underrated. We'll be sure to reach out to you.
Oh, there'll be a top 5 westerns, just all westerns, not just Clint Eastwood, anybody, and that'll definitely be a Jase, a Tony, an Alan. It'll be the whole.
No.
But that'll be later.
We'll bring out the calendar for that. The John Wayne calendar.
Got to bring the calendar back.
Yeah, that'll be back.
Yeah. But guys, it's been a blast. Thank you everybody in the chat. We still got 34 people out there, guys. We were up in the 40s at one point.
Wow. Nice.
So,
crazy.
Good night.
So please subscribe to everybody. All that stuff. Hit that like button. We appreciate everybody being there. We'll see y'all the next stream, guys. It's been a blast. Thank y'all so much for being here.
See y'all.
Get on out of here,
guys.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.